Hello.
That's a really cute shirt. Is that a Bulbasaur shirt?
Yes, it's a bunch of Bulbasaurs.
How are you doing?
Excited. That's how I'm doing. How about you?
Excited, but also not ready for things to end.
Um, so you had expressed multiple times an interest in a possible season three. Um,
Yeah,
that's
if people are up to it, yeah.
yeah. So I figure I'll offer that to everybody who how many are interested. For me, that would probably look like mid-August or September starting that.
Yeah, especially considering the upcoming Ryan game. Oh,
Hmm.
speaking of Ryan, did you see that they released a full preview?
I did. So I just started going through that. So I had originally thought, well, we probably wouldn't get the full set of rules. So let's use the free stuff that they have. Um, but now that they've got the full set out, I figure why not use that? There's a lot more options and whatnot.
Yeah, especially since they released a lot more playbooks and everything than the starting three.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm excited for that as well. That should be really cool. I've been listening to the actual play podcast for it. Oh, I can't hear you.
Well, it helps if I actually like switch the mute part of it off. Can you hear me now? Okay.
Yes, yes.
Also, really love the outfit and everything. Oh my gosh.
Thanks. I didn't realize Bulbasaur would be such a big hit.
Bulbasaur. Oh man. It's really the last session. I am not ready. It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, I'm excited. It should be good.
Oh, while we're waiting for everybody else, I wanted to clarify because I don't know if I'm remembering right or wrong. Um, you mentioned that they have Marie kind of in this like thing and it has like tubes connected to it. Is it tubes that were connected to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you
I
seen the like 1980s Masters of the Universe?
Yes.
Yeah, you know how they like capture the sorceress of Grayskull in that thing where like the force field flickers around her?
Okay,
Really
yeah.
picturing that, but with
Oh
tubes.
my God. Okay, yeah. That was kind of what I had in mind too.
Okay, yeah.
So I just, okay, yeah. No, I love that. Yeah, I was trying to figure out, okay, did I hear right about like the two-parter? Is that because like I'm trying to think of what my character's next ideas were. Uh, and I'm like, I think I heard Danny say tubes were connected
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of tubes like from it out to like the rest of the room connecting to mirrors and drones. Um, Presumably infusing them with
Whatever.
awful emotions.
Whatever this might be. Oh, 'cause yeah, that was because like yeah, it was like, oh wait, I have something that my character can talk about with everybody right off the bat with about that. Also, still kind of not. I think the most dread I've had all of this time is we still don't know where Oda is, and I feel like that's going to be its own little fun surprise that you have waiting for us in some shape or form. Not ready for that one.
And it's like, it looks like Will mentioned he might be a little bit late since he's picking up food.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see.
I mean, sustenance is important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was rushing around too.
Yeah, I think we were all rushing around today. It's like today's it's like, I don't know, I felt like today was weirdly, it's like the timing of everything was, it's like weird.
Like
We had,
off. It just something went wrong.
yeah, since it was like we ended up having a late dinner ourselves.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, like it was like didn't want to cook today. So we ran out to Chipotle. And I was literally like, okay, I have like barely any time. I forgot to send the notification. I'm gonna just scarf down a whole burrito bowl.
Yeah, it was a thing of like, huh, Danny hasn't sent the thing yet. I hope he's okay. Considering, like, I think you've been pretty consistent about an hour beforehand, usually, I think it was.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just that thing like, where's Danny? What happened to him?
That's where Oda went.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I was in the middle. I was like finishing up. It's like I was in the middle of like finishing up food myself. It's just like, huh? It's like, huh? I haven't seen the email yet. I hope Danny's okay. And then like literally right at them, I was just like, oh, there it is. Okay.
Just had to think about it, and it just came into existence.
Yeah.
Hey, David.
Hello, how's it going?
Good, you?
Doing good here.
It looks like will be a little bit late, so I figure we'll just hang out for a bit.
Anyone scheduled for any games after this one wraps up?
I know that we're with you on the odd.
Yeah, into the odd.
Into the odd.
I was first on the wait list for that, and then they opened up a fifth slot. So okay, I guess I'm in.
Yeah, I did notice that. It was just like, oh, it's like where it was just like, oh, David's on the it's like wait list and everything. And then like I checked a little bit later and it's like just like, oh, we're playing with David.
Oh,
yeah,
there are that many games where they run 5 slots that I've seen on Open Hearth, but okay, cool.
Yeah, it was kind of weird because it just kind of happened out of nowhere too. I don't know. Maybe they changed their mind with something.
I didn't see that somebody was running into the odd. That's cool.
Yeah, it's just a 2-shot.
Okay.
I think it's a scenario that Lowell personally wrote. I think. But yeah, I've never played this system. I just have heard of it and saw who wrote this scenario, and I was like, well, shoot, I'll get on the wait list for that, and now I guess I'm in. So, huh?
The same Into the Odd by Chris McDowell. Is that right?
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I've never played Into the Odd, but I have run a session of Electric Bastion Land.
Ooh, I've never played that. That sounds fun though.
That's fun.
I saw that it's like Danny gone to the upcoming Downfall game.
Downfall?
Yeah, the GMless game about the
Oh yeah, that one.
Yeah. We started that this past Monday and we finish up this next Monday. So that should be fun. Or that has been fun so far. I've played with Ian before. He ran the first 2 games that I was in for Open Hearth. And so he put that on and I got to meet Casey. I hadn't met Casey before. It's been good. It feels like a combination of like the Quiet Year, the Deep Forest, and Under the Autumn Strangely, and like Microscope thrown in there too. It's pretty cool.
That actually sounds kind of fun.
I've heard that all of those are awesome and haven't actually played any of them.
Yeah,
I know what those are.
And just this Thursday, I started the first session with Puckett's Passion de los Passions as a dog.
Ooh, nice. Pucket's so good at that game.
I am this little gentleman chihuahua with a little bow tie, and my name is Ferdinand with fur and not for
Right.
the beginning part. I had to.
Adorable. That's so cute.
I didn't even know you could play dogs in that system. That's great.
I think even Puckett wasn't aware of that until like Marley was like started it. I guess that's the whole reason this is even happening, and it's like it's hilarious.
Yeah, I think basically it was like it started as an idea, and then Puckett decided, well, I guess I'm running with it. How's this month been starting off for everyone?
Not too bad on my end. Yeah, no, not a whole lot I can report on my end.
Hey,
If I can be in like one game a month, I'm usually pretty happy with that. So it's so far so good.
well, and hey, the big thing here is like, hey, nothing bad to report is always pretty much
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, no news is really good news these days.
Yeah, I know, right? Oh, well, you live.
I do. I'm sorry to keep people waiting.
Oh no, don't worry. We all saw the message.
I'm sitting in the drive-through and I'm watching the clock go by. I'm like, uh-oh.
Honestly, with dinner and everything, I thought I was going to be like 4 or 5 minutes late because took a lot longer than I thought.
So I will turn off my camera at times. I will turn off my camera if the need arises to eat some of this food. But mostly it's like I probably should have something in the next 3 hours.
Yeah, for sure. All right. What are things that people remember from last time that we want to call attention to?
Well, for starters, our group kind of figured, I guess, based on talking with the Baroness, what little trump card we may have that they don't know, which was just our little fun entranceway back in, which we had to pay a price for. We do see at the moment a bunch of mirrors that Albrecht is doing something with. I mean, he keeps moving his hand around with it. No idea what he's working with on those mirrors. Marie is obviously in some shape or form powering whatever is going on here or helping facilitate it. We don't know what's going on there. And we don't know where Oda. Those are the big ones I can think of. Is anyone else got any ideas to add in there?
This thing that we're interrupting is some kind of grand demonstration that the Abyss is going to do to the pageant when the pageant reaches the city center. We don't really know what it does, but it's probably bad.
Oh yeah, and isn't this where also the drones are at? Like where they stored?
Yeah, and they're currently being outfitted with a whole bunch of mirrors here along the outside, like against the wall is where they're like docked, and the automated system is upgrading them. Okay. Anything else?
I think Regal is just right at the moment down with Albrecht, I think is what it was.
Yep. Regalia is down there.
And I don't think we know what she's up to. She's just kind of observing at the moment, it sounds like.
So when Sarah was up against the railing or taking a quick peek, I think she probably saw that Regalia is like doing a slow circle around the like arcane prison cage that's keeping Marie. She seems to be occupied with whatever's going on with Marie while Albrecht is checking on the status of the drones and the mirrors being outfitted to them. But yeah, last we left off, we used our controlled role, controlled position from our engagement role. But we are sitting up here on like a 10th story way above the ground level where all these activities are going on, or the primary activities are going on. We can hear the wind whipping around outside since we're somewhere up here in like the low atmosphere. I think we also see there are various doors where like the catwalks and the scaffolding and whatnot go and connect with the outer wall. You can see like in areas where there's doors that lead to like what looks like outside catwalks along the outside of it, of this large aerial fortress engineering center. And again, you know, the catwalks and the scaffolding, ladders and stairs lead all the way up and down the interior of this space as well. So yeah, so Sarah just learned that Albrecht appears to be the greatest immediate threat. What are you all doing?
Well,
Hmm.
Sarah's going to at least kind of mention, kind of, because this was a little bit of a thought on the game plan of things, just what we see so far, and just the thing like, I know I won't be able to help you guys right now, like with the magical stuff. Since I can't just go into my magical girl form right away, but I'm thinking whatever they're doing right now is dependent on whatever they're doing with Marie there, it seems. If I could sneak down and like take out even so the piping that's going there, maybe that would at least stop or hinder what they're doing. But obviously I don't know if like sneaking down there, like just like it as is, probably wouldn't work out. So not sure if like anyone might have to just start something before I can even get that close, because it looks like they're pretty attentive right now.
Do I understand correctly that there are like catwalks or catwalks or staircases or stuff on the inside of this space? Like, would we be able to via on foot make it down to the ground level?
Yeah, 100%. Yep.
Okay.
Here, this might help too. So the theater of the mind is sometimes difficult, and I'm not particularly super great at painting a clear picture all the time. So like I'm thinking of it as like this massive 10-story cylindrical space, and like the interior walls are lined with docking stations for the drones and the automated repair systems that are outfitting them with mirrors. And like right next to that, all of these catwalks and walkways are that are interlinked up and down, with stairs and ladders. And then occasionally there's a door that goes to the outside of this place as well. And so you could certainly make your way down, and around where, you know, down to the center where Albrecht and Marie and Regalia are.
Actually, do we know where these pipes are we seeing where these pipes are feeding towards exactly? Like, are they connecting to like behind each of the mirrors, or do we see where this is all flowing or going?
So yeah, so that's great. So when you peeked over, you saw that like the tubes and the pipes from this arcane prison that Marie's in led outward, presumably to the engineering devices that are working with the drones. And I think you also see like just wires, long cables and whatnot, like strewn about, like moving up almost like spider web down from this center space, coming up the space and linking into other drones and repair areas and stuff like that. And there's a moment where you hear Marie like scream in pain. She screeches, and it's like a sob / scream. And you hear this like sizzling of energy and like a shockwave, like arcing energy that goes up the wires and into the drones and the mirrors.
Oh, you're really making it hard for Sarah to keep from just jumping right on in here right
I
now.
was
Oh my
gonna
goodness.
say, yeah.
Oh, that. Yeah, I could say just because it's not too hard to see, I will say, like, for the party at least, it is very apparent with the way Sarah's kind of gripping kind of her fist and everything. She is doing her best not to just kind of jump right now into the fray, but we'll see how well she can hold her nerves. It's kind of very apparent that she is yeah, this is that does not really help her being a little bit more controlled.
We need to get down there, and we need to get down there without being spotted.
The
Anyone
thing is,
have any good ideas?
we need to get down there, but also that we're really high up. It's going by foot would take quite a bit of time in its own right, but going and falling down obviously is just going to make us very obvious.
Can I gather info?
Yeah, what is it we see Adele doing to gather this information?
Let's see. It's like, so right now we see a bunch of drones. We see, it's like Marie. It's like we see Regalia and we see Albrecht. Do we see anyone or anything else is like within the environment besides is like those?
I think another like a freebie that I can give you is after Albrecht like waved his hand and a whole bunch of the mirrors lit up with shadow. It was like activating and checking on their status, and it kind of I think like a wave that went up to a whole bunch of drones, um, up the wall, up the space, and you can see kind of across from you where some of them have sort of activated as well, and you can see a space beyond the mirrors there, and you can see figures moving, shadowy figures moving in those spaces. But if there's something else, by all means, we can make a gather information action roll.
Let's see. I'm just trying to recall. It's like we entered here through, it's like with the help of the Baroness. Did we also basically come in through a mirror essentially?
Yep.
It's like, so it's like Adele kind of, it's like ponders for a moment. You kind of see like their hand sort of reach out and sort of like basically it's like and just rest atop it's like Sarah's hand. And it's like, or Ted more so basically, as they're trying to like, it's like as a like sensing the agitation, everything before sort of it's like turning to it's like the other two. It's like is it just me or does it look it's like I mean maybe it's like jumping too many it's like maybe I'm jumping too many it's like ideas here, but it's like but am I the only one getting the impression that they're it's like controlling the drones through these mirrors?
Don't really know how this all works personally. I'm not very techy. So I can't say.
It's like, well, I guess I'm mostly asking because it's like it makes me wonder. It's like the Baroness can't help us physically, but it's like imagine we might be able to it's like request of her to perhaps interfere, so to speak.
You're thinking of making this mirror here do something interesting.
Not specific, like not necessarily specifically, or even it's like just this mirror. I don't know how much it's like the Baroness is able to affect per se, but it's like given the amount of mirrors and everything, and it's like, well, it's like the Baroness's affiliation with them. It's like I do wonder, it's like with everything here, if she might possibly, it's like help us. It's like or it's like perhaps we can figure out a way, it's like help her help us further. And it's like, am I being crazy?
I mean, it's not the craziest thing. We don't know the extent of what the Baroness can do. I mean, for starters, it's not like we knew how to get here and then suddenly we are. It's not like we know what she's capable of. Violet, what do you think? Do you have any ideas?
There are a bunch of mirrors down by Marie, right? Don't suppose there's a way for us to go in one mirror, come out the other, maybe? That would be dramatic.
I mean, it would be. Not to mention, we've gone through mirrors constantly before, so I think you're onto something there.
Could try that. Baroness might be able to help facilitate that because she knows a thing or two about mirrors. Or we could just split it up. Some people come through mirrors, some people come from, an airdrop practically.
Well, it's like I'm certainly going to take the more exhilarating of the two choices, but it's like at the very least, if we are able to take advantage of the mirrors, that makes it considerably less likely they'll be able to anticipate, well, what we do per se, or how we do it.
Well, if you want to pull focus and draw their attention while more sensible people do something, more sensible people take a cautious route down, I can't stop you.
Well, if you're suggesting well, I mean, if you're suggesting that, wouldn't it make more sense for you to pull attention then? But no, of course so. Oh.
Frida's mouth twists at that and she doesn't respond.
But of course, I have no reason to, turn down that idea. Although, I suppose though I suppose I should say, don't blame me if I end up doing anything too outlandish, perhaps. But no, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say we have the element of surprise.
Well, if I'm going to be pulling attention, how are the three of you planning on going about it? Simply so at least I know.
Well, I'm gonna at least try to get Marie's pipes kind of at least dislodged. That's my main focus, is just get what I can at least control. I don't know if I can really do anything else that you guys are gonna have to do. If I can, I'll join in, but at the moment, I think that's the only thing I can really do.
I'm willing to lead a group action to help to get down to the ground level via catwalks, especially if somebody's doing a distraction at the same time. Frida also likes the idea of some kind of sabotage to the mirrors that pulls focus, which, if Adele is going to be very dramatic and pull focus, we don't necessarily need that, but something that gets their attention, not where we are.
Adele kind of thinks too. Sort of paces back to the mirror that they entered from and everything, and sort of almost considers essentially trying to just stops themselves from basically knocking on the mirror like a door and everything before sort of just waving their hand in front. Are you did you happen to are you still here? Baroness, did you happen to hear any of that?
I think you see a flicker of movement, like somebody running across just on the other side of the mirror, and you see it move from mirror to mirror to mirror, in this top area where you're at, and across from you, where the mirror is lit up with shadow activated by Albrecht, you see a shadowy feminine figure come into view, and she reaches through, and she does the whole like beckon with her finger.
It's like Adele, it's like turns back to the it's like other three and just it's like, well, it's like well, it's like she's certainly ready and I don't it's like I wouldn't say there's much preparation on my part, but it's like, what about the three of you?
I'll say, having been hearing Marie this entire time and already seeing this plan already kind of come to fold, Sarah's not even like mincing words. She is already kind of trying to sneak her way downward.
I'll motion to Frida. After you.
Let's keep ourselves out of trouble here. And I will follow after I'll follow after Sarah.
Okay, so if I heard right, Adele is going to go over to meet the Baroness and see if they can come up with a way to distract the folks on the floor while everybody else sneaks down with a group action. Is that right? Okay. So I think fictionally, the three of you just start sneaking down, and so we'll come to that roll in a bit. And Adele, you cross over the top catwalks over to where the Baroness beckoned you. And as you get closer and closer, you can see behind the Baroness in this, from a distance, looks like a void space. But as you get closer, it looks like marble floors and large pillars and dark drapery on the other side of the mirrors. And you can see these monstrous humanoid shapes moving around, lurking, pacing. And the Baroness is kind of in the foreground with them all moving behind. How is it that you approach the mirror?
It's like, let's see, sort of, it's like resolutely, it's like steps toward, it's like the mirror, sort of, it's like stops right before it. It's like taking stock of like what they see on the other side.
Okay.
Takes a deep breath, sort of like as though to steel themselves. And just, well, there's probably some fun to be had from this. And then it's like probably just, it's like sort of, it's like proceeds to, it's like step into the mirror. It's like,
Yeah, you're immediately hit by like frigid cold. It's freezing. It feels like there should be like an Arctic wind, but there's not. It feels like there should be, like it feels like things should be moving, but the drapes are all perfectly still. And the Baroness, in her like veiled shadow form, reaches out and grabs your hand and says, "Run." I think it becomes pretty apparent that these particular mirrors are moving through a space that is close to the abyss. It's like a staging ground for the forces, the monstrous forces of the abyss to get ready and engage to move through into, the mega city, into the world. And you are now find yourself surrounded by them. So the Baroness is like, yeah, run. We need to, if we're going to get you to another mirror, we need to go now. It's like all of these monstrous heads turn to look at you. So let's make a roll.
so let's see. It's like, so basically this is, it's like essentially as close to like the heart of the, it's like abyss as like pretty much probably it's like any of us have really, it's like gone to at this point.
Yeah.
It's like sort of, it's like it's like exhales from it's like at the it's like sudden like blast of cold and everything, and then just it's like immediately starts it's like sprinting. It's like at it's like at the Baroness's it's like behest and everything, and like it's like sort of it's like and like you kind of see these sort of like it's like sort of it's like leap it's like off the ground it's like sort of like it's like and for a moment kind of like almost looks it's like a bit like a it's like for a flash almost sort of like it's like takes the form of like almost like a comet that it's like sort of streaks through for a moment as they transcend, and then it's like when their feet hit the marble floor it's like it's like just it's like having just it's like lands on the floor, immediately breaks off sprinting, and it's like as it's like in the direction that the Baroness guides them. I guess that would be basically like a flow it's like action.
Yeah, sounds great. I think this is like you're aided by the Baroness, so I think this is great effect. But you are also surrounded by the edge of what might be legions of these monstrous things. So I think it's probably a desperate position.
I would like
Okay.
to I would like
Go
to
ahead.
use Never Alone to assist Adele.
Yeah, what's that look like?
This might be a flashback, but I think as Adele is running, are you transcended, Adele?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think as Elhenna is blazing through, we see shots of sort of sparring in the skybox between Adele and Frida is like grilling Adele on how she would handle this particular situation. I've seen creatures that do this. I've seen monsters that do this. How would you handle this? What are you going to do when you're face to face with this creature? Just trying to overwhelm her with horrifying concepts and see if she breaks. If you accept this assistance, you get 2 dice.
Sure, because it's like love the it's like thought of that. It's probably just like as it's like Hannah is basically sprinting now and everything. You can it's like basically kind of like see like the faded sort of montage of a
Danny, how much stress do you want to charge me for the flashback?
Oh, I think that's just great narrative justification for the ability that you already have that you can do. I feel like if I charge stress for that, that would be unfair taxing because I think it's already worked into all of your abilities and your group abilities and stuff like that.
All right.
yeah. So I think it would just be like the default 2 stress.
Mm-hmm.
See, and then can I push myself further?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Unless you want to poison promise, that's always on the table too.
I'm always open to that if it's like anyone has any ideas.
I think one offer is that a whole set of the drones are ready, and Albrecht, in his haste, sends them out. So they're no longer here in the fortress, and they're out in the world.
Hmm. Boy, it's like the implications, it's like the possible implications from that. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So that's a 5.
Oh, all right. And a 5. 4, 5 when desperate. You do it, but there's a consequence. All right, let me see. So the goal here, go ahead.
Oh no, that's fine.
So the goal here was to move through this space, but ultimately to distract the individuals below, right? Okay. So I think what this looks like is you and the Baroness are rushing to the mirror. like the destination mirror, and you can see on the other side, the ground level, you can see Albrecht with his back turned to the mirror, looking at others. You can see Regalia moving around. You can see Marie screaming out in pain or agony. And then there's like a big commotion, and like winged monsters land in front of you. It's difficult here on this side of the mirror to make out their exact shapes. There's wings, there's claws, there's glistening eyes, and there's like a quiet roar. And then you see Albrecht turn and says, "Oh, what do we have here?" And then Regalia turns and Marie screams. And so they're distracted, but there's these monsters. You're trapped at the moment on this side of the mirror. That is a consequence that you can resist.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and it's like resist that. Let's see. That's like I suppose that would probably be like sun. It sounds
Sure.
like.
Yeah, violence and fear.
Let's see. And then let's see. I need to actually remember I get a +1 die to resistance roll while transcended.
Yes,
Okay,
good call.
so 3 die. That is a 6. So I meant to. It's like so I at least got a 6 on that one.
Nice. What does it look like as you resist this consequence?
I imagine it's like it's basically like Alhana essentially like continues with the momentum of basically like it's like diving it's like the mirror and everything, probably sort of like as the it's like 2 monsters approach and everything. It's like sort of like in that it's like split second trying to gauge like what's the it's like trying to gauge an opening that basically they can sort of slide through and it's like pass them before it's like basically it's like diving for the it's like exit.
Nice. Yeah. So you make it through. At the moment alone with all the bad guys. All right. So the rest of you are making your way down. There are 10 stories that you need to move through to try and and you're trying to be quiet. So I think right off the bat, that's probably limited effect. But with the distraction, I think it's a controlled position. It does sound like you were doing a group activity, led by Frida.
Sure, I can lead that. I don't know how would it work to trade position for effect on a group roll or to push for greater effect on a group roll.
I would allow for it for just one person to spend the stress.
I'll take the push for it.
Okay. Because I feel like we need to book it down there.
Yeah.
Agreed. I don't trust Adele alone down there.
What is it you're rolling, Frida? What does this look like as we see Frida rush ahead and everybody follow suit?
I mean, this feels like conceal. We are trying to move quickly, but the whole point of this exercise is to not be seen and not pull attention to ourselves. So doing a lot of watch to see where Regalia and Albrecht's attention is, to keep away from any of the mirrors that might like alert monsters in the mirrors might alert them to our presence and other stuff like that.
I like it. All right, so we have 3 rolls here. One by Frida, one by Violet, and one by Adele, and you all need to roll conceal. These are like individual action rolls, but we're going to take the best of all 3 since it's a lead a group action.
I think I don't have any in conceal.
Yeah, so do I roll 2 and take the lowest?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that also the case with me?
It is, but you can push yourself. Somebody can assist you. You can spend a link. All those things are still on the table.
Okay.
Well, I can't push myself because I did that for the effect.
Yes, that's right.
I will spend a link with Violet to give Violet 1 die on this.
So that takes me to just 1 die.
Yep.
Okay. I'll go with that. Nice.
Nice.
And well then. Ouch. No surprise there.
Of course, still successive.
Okay. Wow, I rolled a 1. But
Um,
one of us rolled a 6.
Woo!
great.
Thank you, Violet, for being once again the savior of our dice rolls.
I don't know how it happens, but here we are again.
Oh, without Violet, we would be very much lost at this point.
All right. So if I understand the rules correctly, I think, Frida, you take 1 stress because there was 1 failure. It was
Okay.
but everybody else got a success, and we got a 6.
Actually,
So,
because I had to take the lowest, there was 2 failures.
oh, okay. So 2 stress.
Yeah. So yeah, I take 2 stress. I am not Elhenna.
Oh yeah. So what does it look like as you all like do you jump on railings and slide down all cool like? Do you like skip whole floors and swing down? Or you just move real stealthy like?
I feel like what actually like how with the mirrors and everything, if we were to do like kind of like the like sliding about and kind of going through like jumping through like some railing down to like another levels and such, would the mirrors give us an like I'm assuming that like it would make sense that sometimes we find like moments where the mirrors are blocking their vision and we can kind of just slide behind them kind of thing.
Oh yeah, that sounds cool.
Like, oh, there.
All right, yeah. So you all make it down. You see Alhenna step out of, or, is in front of a mirror, and it looks like a vague in the distance a little bit. The Baroness, difficult to make out in the dark other side of the mirror. And you see 2 large monstrous shapes stepping out of the mirror behind Alhenna. You see Albrecht and Regalia both facing Alhenna, and Marie, scream out in pain. So that's kind of where we're at the moment.
Okay, I'll say being this close now and having at least already had things kind of engage, Sarah is going to break off and immediately just kind of gun it towards trying to sneak to nabbing the piping and trying to like get any of this off of Marie. She's not going to be able to resist any longer. She is too close to this now.
Yeah, okay. That sounds like your. Oh, yeah. So what action are you thinking of rolling here?
The big thing here is they seem to be distracted at the moment. We still have the element of surprise. So the bigger thing, I guess, would be I want to say like that she's still trying to kind of go over but I think at this point she's kind of almost like going with the flow of like what's currently happening and kind of just going straight into nabbing and going and trying to yank things off.
Okay. I think
yeah, I think that's the best way to put it.
moving up this close to where Marie is moving in within close proximity to Regalia, and as you get closer, you hear her say to Albrecht, "They're here. They must be here already." And she like moves her hands in the air, and a whole bunch of daggers fashioned out of shadows like form in the air around her. And so I think this is risky standard. You have the potential here if there's a failure or whatever, you can draw the attention of Regalia.
It's not like I was going to be able to avoid this any times and all, so might as well just get straight to it here. And based on how I kind of described it, I think flow is kind of the best way to kind of describe my movement, but what do you think there's a better one that you think fits more to what I'm trying to accomplish?
I think if you were to roll conceal, then I would probably move that away from risky back to controlled, kind of like how we had it set up. Because with flow, that sounds to me like it's less about staying quiet,
Yeah.
and concealed, and more about just doing your
Getting the,
best to get there.
yeah. So yeah, I'll stay with the flow then.
Okay.
So that's 1 dice and
I'd like to push myself to assist, since basically I'm right there in between this paparazzi of it sounded like, so basically Albrecht and it's like Regalia in front of me, and then the two it's like monsters behind me coming out of the mirror. Okay, so it's like, yeah, it's like I'm going to it's like basically push myself to assist, and basically like, oh, seeing Regalia essentially summoning those daggers and everything. It's like, and now Henna just immediately like, oh, it's like sort of like immediately sort of like it's like runs up to Regalia, sort of like immediately sort of like it's like, and this is the most like it's like, and it's like basically this is like the rudest thing. It's like in recent times that they've done, where basically they just sort of like pull Regalia, it's like forward, and basically just like it's like nope, it's like no, all attention on me, and then sort of like looks back and just it's like actually it's like you might be better. It's like suited for the ones behind me, and sort of like immediately sort of like it's like and sort of like basically is like sort of like spins, and it's like essentially sort of like swaps. So I essentially tries to like swap positions. It's like with it's like Regalia, essentially like placing her between it's like themselves and the it's like monsters and everything, essentially to it's like distract. It's like before it's like essentially just to sort of like force the attention off of it's like Sarah, if that's okay.
So that sounds to me like another setup action. Um, it sounds like there's a little more involved there than just helping out, because we're totally moving Regalia around. But I'm down for that if Clarice, if you're cool with that.
oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, yeah. This what you described sounds like flow to me. Is that what action you're choosing?
Yeah.
Okay. I think this is poor Dell. I mean, Alhenna. I think this is desperate. You're in the middle of all of this awfulness.
Yeah,
Uh,
I could say that.
but it's standard effect. You'll be able to switch positions with Regalia. I think we see the monsters, are right behind, reaching forth, grasping claws. Albrecht's right there. Regalia is preparing floating shadow daggers.
I will spend a link with Adele to give Adele one. I will spend a link with Alhenna to give Alhenna 1 die. This is the kind of audacity that you're used to seeing from Frida. So you're sure she approves wherever she is in the
Can
room.
I do the same? Or do you need another die?
Well, considering in Blades in the Dark, you can't really have too many dice to guarantee you a 6. It's like that's up to you if you want to. It's like spend a link for that. Otherwise, I could just like also push myself.
I've
So-
got 2 links with you. Or what was that, Danny?
So we can spend 1 link from one person, and then somebody else can do something to assist.
Oh, is that so you can't spend multiple links like that?
Yeah, there's only 1 link at a time.
Okay, never mind.
Well, I could upgrade my spending a link to actively assisting Adele, which is 2 dice. But I might then immediately be spending that link to de-stress myself.
Well, hey, that's a way to get all that extra dice and get a link spent. Like that would be 3 additional dice.
Sure.
Yeah, okay.
I don't think it's like. I mean, I don't think we need to go that far, since this is mostly a setup action more than anything.
But it's desperate. And desperate comes with consequences here. Very
It's
big
your call.
consequences.
Yeah, whatever you want to do with this, Adele. I mean, if you want, I can throw a link your way. Otherwise, we can save it for what comes next, which, to be fair, will probably also be desperate.
Yeah. I think I'll push myself for 1 die, and then it's like, what were you? It's like, and then what were you going to? It's like decide upon. It's like for Frida.
I feel like it is narratively more appropriate to spend the link than to assist, unless you can think of a way that Frida is assisting in the moment here. Because it's kind of I'm willing to take the 2 stress. My brain is blanking on what that would look like in fiction.
Jump
Well,
in
I
the
do
fray.
say, go ahead.
That's a jump in the fray, that's all.
It's like, well, I do already have 3 dice from pushing myself in the 2 flows, so it's like I could just roll with that.
Yeah. And I really can't assist because this is technically setting me up here, so it doesn't make sense on that one.
I think for narrative's sake, I will spend a link to give you an extra die, but not be a full assist. So that would be, I think, a 4th die.
All right, let's see how the dice betray me this time.
Oh,
Okay.
6.
Woo!
Just as you described, you go in there, you move past the outreaching claws, you twirl around Albrecht, you grab Regalia and spin her away from you and swap places. And so now Sarah's free to act. So we're in controlled position now for Sarah.
Okay. And yeah, so basically then with that, yeah, once again, going and trying to dislodge whatever I can off of this unique contraption if I can. Who knows how difficult that is though? I don't even know if these things are screwed on or what. If I have to, I'll kick it a few times. Maybe that'll work. Let's see. So that we said that was still gonna be a flow, probably, right?
So
Or
let's touch base real quick because it sounded like you were trying to get close last time.
yeah, in
And
this
the
case,
way it's described sounds like you're trying to actually tamper with the device.
yeah, because it sounds like at this point, based on what Adele's done, I could probably get close and then just do the thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So that would be probably something different. Like, unfortunately, it'd probably be one of my more weaker stat things, like defy, because I'm technically defying what they want to do with Marie here. Or maybe
I could see a case for analyze if you're trying
trying to find out
figure out exactly what's going on here and where to do the most damage.
Yeah, or perceive, because both of them can fall into that. Yeah, actually, analyze sounds pretty good. I think that because ultimately, as much as Sarah wants to just immediately take this off, she doesn't want to also do undue harm in some other shape or form. So yeah, I think analyze is the best way to go about it.
Okay.
And as much as I am feeling this is dangerous at this current point in time, I'm willing to do a poison promise for a push here, even though I feel like that might be dangerous.
I'll offer it to the table first if anybody has a cool idea.
Yeah, for a poison promise, you say?
I don't know if you're holding Oda in reserve, Danny.
What are you pitching?
I mean, I'm guessing that Oda is going to show up at some point. This could be the point she shows up, but you might have a better idea in mind for her.
I mean, if that's what we want to accept, I'm down with working with that. That's fine.
There's that, or what is there? What you seemed like you had another idea possibly there, Danny.
No, I can totally
Oh.
I can totally work with this.
Yeah, I was curious.
I had a couple different ideas floating around of what could possibly happen, and this works just as well as any of those.
Well, what are your ones? I'm actually curious about that as well.
In my headcanon, which doesn't exist yet because it hasn't been spoken to the table, was that Oda was lurking along the outside of the fortress. but Oda can totally show up here right now in the center as part of this whole fray. Like that's I'm totally down with that. She can have a really cool entrance. Like I'm cool.
Well, I mean, sure, why not? I mean, Adele's already having a fun dance. Why not add another dancer into the mix here? Oh, of
Yeah,
course.
I suppose one other note would be something targeting Marie.
Oh yeah, there's that too.
That she's been in this machine. She's been in this machine long enough that getting her out of the machine is like she's still connected to the abyss in some way that needs to be resolved before the end of the scenario. Like there's like some portion of Marie is like entangled with abyss energies, and that has to be dealt with as part of rescuing her.
Oh, I hate it. That also sounds really great. Actually, just because, add even more drama and give Adele a moment to still ruminate on Oda here. Let's go with that.
Okay, yeah.
Because I like the drama that could become from that.
Sure.
Right now, that would put me at 2 dice. Yeah, I think it's 2 dice. Well, better than 1. Okay. And please don't mess me up this time. I'll take it. It is not the worst roll I could have asked for.
So in a controlled roll on a 5, withdraw and try a different approach, or do it with a minor consequence.
I would say do it with a minor consequence is probably the way to go about this. I think I'm pretty committed at this point.
Okay. So give me some fiction real quick about what it looks like as you break Marie free.
I guess the best way to kind of do this is like Sarah kind of just looking about at these pipes and like trying like doing some like basically like a little tugging and messing around with it, turning knobs or whatever that it can to kind of see what loosens it up. And I feel like at this point in time, like, but because like once again, she is not techie at all. This is in over her head. I like the thought of after trying so many different things and trying to be tactful, she's like, it's like, gosh darn thing, and just kicks it, and that's when it just like pops off.
The force field flickers long enough for Sarah to step in and push Marie free. And as Marie goes free, as like she moves past the force field, you can see like part of her skin like forms into glass shards of mirror, and it starts to stretch up like one of her whole arms. And you see like on the other side, like part of her face is like clearly this abyss magic has interacted with her. And then just as before Sarah can step free, the force field flickers back on.
Of course.
Oh my.
That is a consequence, but you can resist it if you love.
I mean, at the moment, Sarah not being a magical girl form 2, this is kind of playing into what Sarah intended to do, which is to take Marie's place in the long run of it to protect her. At the moment, as much as I would love to resist, I don't think characteristically I can.
I mean, you say that, but Hero's Destiny mentions you may only transcend when an ally suffers consequences from an action, which that might meet the conditions of. I mean, it's like Marie is kind of suffering the consequences of your action, I guess, one might argue.
Unfortunately, yes. I like that idea, like just shoving Marie out and suddenly just at like in that moment of like realization of what's happened to Marie, and this sudden like kind of closing of it. Like I say, she probably at this point transcends, and I guess we'll try to break free of this.
Okay, yeah. So if you resist, yeah, by all means.
Yeah.
This sounds.
Yeah, we'll go with that. Or putting it in that perspective, yeah, I guess that this would be probably the most like sensible time for me to finally realize, hey, here's my magical powers.
I'm not sure what trapped in a magical force field should be considered for sun, moon, or stars.
Honestly, let me see here. Like, I mean, it kind of depends in the sense of like, one could argue moon in the sense of like is kind of this thing that's almost meant for like despair and heartbreak with it because it's the thing. But I guess what was it? It was kind of taking some like it was doing harm and taking something from Marie in a sense, and also I almost want to say that like this contraption's more on a kind of a more physical form, more so probably more sun.
Yeah, I think the sun sounds the most right.
Yeah, I mean, if it's literally preventing you from leaving, that's a form of violence.
Yeah.
Good
So
read.
yeah. So 1 die.
But if you are transcended, you get the additional one, right?
Oh right. I gonna keep forgetting that. Okay, well,
Instance.
I will not say no to that.
Okay. Are we good with a 5-minute break or do you need 10?
I'm fine with whatever.
Either way.
That works.
Okay, let's do 5. I'm excited to jump back into it real quick and then see what Violet and Frida are up to. Fumi, did you mark all of your desperate experience that you were getting?
I'm trying to remember. Let's see. Oh wait, no, I think 1 went 2. Yeah, it was basically both flow. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
There we go.
I feel like by the end of all this, there's going to be a lot of "I told you so's" between Alhena and Frida. I feel just there's going to be some many options for them.
I mean, Alhena is still standing.
At the moment.
She is not drunk from the fire hose yet.
At the same time, though, they have used 2 transcendent ticks already.
Oh, there is that. There is that.
Just a little bit of a problem.
Oh yeah, because Sarah just transformed right after the roll, so Sarah hasn't marked any yet.
Yet.
Okay. All right. All right. So what are Frida and Violet doing now that chaos has broken out?
Sarah, are you in a position where you can help Marie with her, her abyss, um, with the fact that she's been sort of poisoned by the abyss?
That I'm not entirely certain of yet. So all I know is that basically I'm where Marie was, but I resisted being enclosed, and Marie is actually, where is Marie are they closer to where they are, or like that like cluster of over there, or did I manage to shove them like in a direction closer to Frida and Violet, or I guess I'm not sure.
Marie landed closer to Violet and Frida.
Okay.
Okay.
So I think I'm going to step forward and I'm going to shepherd Marie into cover. And I see what's happened to her. And I sit down with her and I say, "It's okay. Do you trust me? We're going to get you out of here." And I offer my hands to her.
I think she cries out, and you can see tears pouring from one eye as the other one's kind of like frozen over with like mirror garbage. And like just in her state of panic and distress, I think she reaches out with the mirror hand to grab yours.
Okay. And I put a hand up against her mirror cheek and I transcend and I try and pull the abyss corruption from her and take it on myself as armor.
Ooh, okay, yeah.
Oh, I love that. Back to I always love Frida's transcendence and with this element.
So I'm going to transcend before this roll so that I get a dot in empathize.
That sounded right to me, yeah, for sure. I think this is risky standard. We know that Bellatrix was once part of the machinations of the Abyss. This is totally in her purview for sure.
Um, This is the first time where I've drawn on the abyss where I don't feel like a poison promise is appropriate. So I'm just going to push myself for another die. I mean,
Yeah.
if somebody has a killer poison promise, I'll consider it. But this feels lower stakes than this feels a little less flashy than I usually do.
Well, that, and along with it, I feel like there's going to be plenty of opportunities in our everything about to happen here for and all that. I don't think you're going to be wanting too much for those to come up.
Yeah, I feel like my poison promises have already gotten us in enough hot water to date.
Well, yeah, we still don't even know anything about Albrecht at the moment.
Yeah, so just take 2 stress and you get the extra die.
Okay.
And just because I'm not yet entirely understanding, if I use my beacon and everything and all, does that first of all count as an action? It doesn't state if it's an action or if it's just basically like acts like a link that I can use once for each of the other characters.
Yeah, sure. No, I think you activate it and then everybody's got a link in reserve that's already spent is kind of how I read that.
Yeah, okay. Because the way I think of it is like after kind of busting out like out of the like being about to be contained and everything, and then it's kind of this burst of emotions that kind of made them transcend on everything. The first kind of card that they kind of grab is one that kind of just is kind of the more regal one that has a spadroon kind of on it, and like hits it with their baton, just kind of without any thought, without any like real reason why, just kind of happens. And then they kind of burst into this kind of their outfit kind of burst into this more regal kind of flowing kind of outfit and everything, and their baton switches into a spadroon and all as they start to as they kind of sing a kind of a melody of kind of like defiance and hope.
Nice. Yeah, so everybody don't forget that you have a link ready to go and you get to choose which version of it you would like to use.
Okay. I'll spend it for another die on this roll.
Okay, yeah.
That is 3 dice and counting. Wait, no. Yeah, 3 dice and counting. And
Nice.
that's a 6.
It happens. The mirrors break away, revealing red, irritated flesh, but otherwise relatively unharmed. What does the armor look like that Bellatrix forms?
I think it's still mirrors. I think the shards of the mirror sort of flow over Bellatrix, but where they were sort of cancerous and jagged and discordant on Marie, they form like layered lacquered plates on Bellatrix's arms, and they look like they shine with a glow from Bellatrix rather than the sort of tarnished shadow that they were exhibiting on Marie. So it's sort of like mirrored interlocking plates running down her arms. And she says, "I'll carry this for you."
Nice.
All right. What is Violet up to?
Can I tell what the biggest threat is, or should I roll gather information?
No. I think it's either obvious or it's what it has been. I feel like now's the time to introduce Oda. If that's okay.
I mean, honestly, with all the commotion we've just made, and me kind of just bursting out into a song and everything, I feel like Oda is not really going to be unaware of what's going on in here at this point.
So as you look around, Violet, this place is like lit somehow, probably like through a bunch of lights, just fixed in various places. The place goes dark. Like a few bulbs flicker, one like breaks and bursts, and there's like a rush of wind and the movement of shadow, and then like the lights slowly build back up, and there's like long tattered wings and capes that are like flapping about in an unseen wind, and they all kind of coalesce down into the center of the room where Oda has landed and is just kind of standing there. So I think it becomes clear to Violet that Oda and Albrecht are kind of equally matched at the moment for the most dangerous things in the room.
Got it. And can I get a reminder on what Sarah is doing?
Yeah, so I'm right where Marie was originally, and at the moment kind of giving off that kind of song that as I had burst forth from my into my magical form, that's kind of at the moment kind of giving that you guys that kind of like little temporary link or empowerment feeling.
Got it. I'm inclined to transcend and then basically step in front of Polaris, spear at the ready, adopting a defensive stance, and I'll sort of call over my shoulder back to Polaris. Remember all that sparring we did together?
I mean, yeah, you kind of kicked my butt, but I think I got the point.
Show me what you can do.
I got your back, and just kind of like kind of you know, kind of, I like the thought of like in almost like a kind of practiced kind of thing with the sparring. She kind of has her the spidroon that she now has kind of going just kind of off to the side of like of one of your shoulders, almost kind of giving that added little like flanking. So and so that we're kind of like, you know, kind of a thing of like almost the thing of like kind of like, hey, come you come at us, you're going to get attacked by both of us at the same time kind of thing.
Are the two of you just sorry, go ahead.
I'm waiting for them to attack.
Yeah, okay.
Or to monologue, or do something. I don't want to just immediately start attacking them
All right,
necessarily.
well, we've got 45 minutes till our next break, so let me start with Albrecht. No, I'm just kidding.
Right.
So yeah, Albrecht turns to the monsters and goes, fetch. And the two of them like leap out, and like shadows form around them, and they get larger in size until they're both like as big as that monster that encased Ian. So these massive hulking creatures. Like they land on either side of where Polaris and Vega are, and like they start to circle and come in. So let's do something there for sure. Talons lashing out, teeth gnashing, wings beating down. So they're going in to assault the two of you.
Yeah, and I kind of like the idea, and let me know what you think on this, David. Is kind of doing like a group attack where I kind of do a setup, and then you actually do the action.
Oh, that'd be cool. Kind of like a alley-oop.
Yeah. And the kind of thought I'm thinking is like, since kind of we're taking on this like position of like having them come at us, is the thought of like, as they kind of like come, they make their first move, is I kind of almost like parry them with my and everything, and then that's when you take, you can do like something like following up and like seeing any kind of openings or whatever Violet would do in this situation.
That works for me.
And I would say, if I'm doing that, would that kind of fall as under like a kind of a flow kind of in a way?
Yeah, I can see that.
So that would be flow, which gives me 2 dice, which is already way better than I was expecting.
I think this is risky standard.
Risky standard. Yeah.
They're moving in, trying to bite and scratch and claw and maw.
And just because this is going to be important, with me doing a setup, that does not trigger that one's mine, does it?
Doesn't trigger what?
That one's mine.
Oh.
I don't know if that counts towards that or not, so I might as well double check that before we fully do everything, just so I know.
I mean, your rival is
is right
Vega,
here.
right?
Yeah,
Oh yeah, it's just more of the thing of like whether now I'm fully committed to these dogs with Violet or not.
I think you're committed.
Okay, well that's fair enough. Just wanted to double check that. Especially because so yeah, because that also does change the flavor of things, because I along with that, whenever I use any ability that is connected with any of them, kind of changes things a little bit for my character. So yeah, you know what, with 2 dice, I don't know if that's worth pushing myself. That'd be really dangerously close on eclipsing right there. No, I'll risk it with. No, I want this to work out, so I'm gonna push myself. I'm gonna take this risk right now.
Okay.
So that's 3 dice.
I think I'm gonna spend a link. It's like to help remove some of that stress. And it's basically just a clone of, it's like Elhana just basically, it's like calling out to Polaris, just because you're stealing my outfit doesn't mean you have to steal my, it's like recklessness.
I love it.
So catty.
Oh my goodness. All right, I love that. That's a beautiful cut in right there. And let's see what happens. Oh,
Wow.
woo!
Holy cow.
Woo! My best roll. Actually, I think that's our best roll, period.
I think so.
It's our second critical of the season, right?
Yeah, the other one was just double. This is triple.
So I think like the additional thing you get here is that not only is it a setup action, we make progress on the clock against the shadow monsters.
All right.
So it's so I think it counts as both. Does that sound fair to you?
That sounds fair. I mean, I'm just here like, woo, was not expecting any of that. And I want to kind of say, like, with the kind of flavor of it of this, it's that thing of like, as they're going to like do the parry with the Spidroon, they kind of hit their other card that has kind of this this kind of look of like part abyss, part human, kind of like kind of face there, and just kind of has like the little kind of fun little engravings, just like rival in a sense, and just like hits it, and this as the Spidroon kind of moves up to do the parry, it kind of actually turns into this like kind of mirrorish kind of abyssal stuff that kind of goes over their arm and kind of like does a swipe instead of like as like an abyssal kind of like arm kind of does the parrying.
Nice.
Very cool. All right. Vega, you are set up. These monsters are in a bit of disarray thanks to Polaris's quick moves.
So I'm going to dash forward, probably due to the extent that I can in the fiction, do kind of a high jump into the air with my spear held aloft in one arm, and I kind of just do this almost javelin hurl directly into at least one of them to start sort of dispatching them kind of once and for all.
Great.
Which I assume would be Defy, but
Totally. Yeah, that sounds wonderful. I think this is because of the setup action and everything, I think it feels most appropriate to give you controlled and standard here, because they're in disarray, and that way you get the benefit. So I'll go for standard instead of great, 'cause standard will finish their clock.
Okay. So let's take a look here. I've got one in Defy. Can I spend my reserve link to buff that to 2 dice?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm not. I guess I could push myself here. Actually, I don't think I will. I think I'm okay with just 2.
Okay.
All right, so we're gonna roll Defy with 2 dice. Here we go. 5.
All right. Uncontrolled for 4 or 5. You can withdraw and try a different approach, or do it with a minor consequence.
I'll take the minor consequence.
All right. Yeah. What does it look like as you take out these? You finish taking out these monsters.
I imagine they, when they are struck, they kind of like suddenly condense back down into like a small ball of concentrated energy, and then they just kind of shatter into nothing. So there's not like a graphic body or anything left behind. They just kind of like pop. Um, I mean, however many there are, I'm just kind of like tearing through them, more or less doing kind of these mid-air colliding jumps with them as they try to attack. There's probably at least one situation where we do the samurai thing where we run past each other and one of us drops at the end of it. You just kind of have that kind of thing going on where I just look super cool doing it.
Yeah. I think as like the dust settles, we see behind. Oops, I pressed the wrong button. Behind Vega, Albrecht like move his hand, and like we saw previously, like long shadowy arms and claws just like outreach from the activated mirrors. It's like a whole bunch of them. And like while Vega was focused on, making sure the monsters were down, there was like an opening. And so these arms come out and grab hold of Vega. Uh, that's a consequence. You're welcome to resist that if you would like.
I think you could
Um,
also probably spend your armor for it if you wanted.
Oh, I would take that.
oh, okay. I've never done that before. How does that work one more time?
You instead of rolling to resist, you just mark armor, and then
Okay, yeah. I'll spend armor here. That's fine.
all right,
Might as
cool.
well.
Yeah. What does it look like as you resist these grasping claws?
They're grasping, kind of in like a basically they're all surrounding me in a circle, in a circle, kind of like I've slashed through the last one. It's exploded into shards of shadowy darkness. And then these claws sort of come up, and I dispatch them in a single whirlwind attack.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay, monsters have been dispatched. Marie is on the sidelines, out of view, next to Bellatrix. Um, Albrecht is there. Um, he raises an arm to draw on more shadow energies. Um, Regalia looks very upset at this situation at the moment. Um, and she's just kind of, I think, standing there watching, like very calculated to figure out what move she wants to make on the board as it like presents itself. And Oda is just this looming presence in the center. I think there is a rush of shadow and wind, the same stuff that's surrounding Oda, and it moves out towards Elhenna and whisks Oda and Elhenna off to the side. Does Elhenna resist or do something to counter that?
Mm, no, actually, they'll accept that.
Okay. I think there is just like a separate arena that's forming out of wind and shadow, and Oda is just like standing there perfectly quiet in like the eye of this storm. And Alhenna's like on the interior of it is like the wind's whipping at them. And Oda says, I told you not to interfere.
It's like Elhenna it's like kind of like sort of, it's like, probably a little bit. It's like slightly, it's like it's like discombobulated from the sun change in scenery and everything. It's like sort of like uh getting their bearings. Okay, there's not actually much to see around here. It's like before they, it's like kind of just, it's like ask, it's like just like, well, I suppose before we, it's like get a little too, it's like, well, I suppose before, it's like we, it's like possibly, I don't know, fight it out. So I do dread the idea. I do want to ask two questions, actually. But the first one is actually, it's like, how does Oda look right now?
So, Oda looks put together. I think Oda kind of always looks put together.
Yeah.
She has like it's a combination of like robes slash dress, very elegant, like layers of black and gray, and it's hard to tell exactly where the surrounding like aura and miasma of shadow and weird monstrous shapes start and end as they kind of like feed into the dress. And I think as she's standing there very calmly, very serenely watching Alhenna, like the buns that she keeps her hair in, like they begin to snake open and her hair becomes like wild and starts to like lash around.
It's like sort of, it's like gauging that before they just kind of ask. I don't, it's like, I don't know why, but I feel compelled to ask. Are you hurting?
I think that needs to be a roll.
I guess that would be like a empathize.
Yeah, sure. I think this is risky limited. Oda, before Oda was still somewhat in control, and there's this barrier now that's more difficult to break through, and trying to reach out to really lean in, I think exposes Adele's like draws, I'm sorry, Alhenna draws Alhenna's focus. So there's like an opening for maybe a sneak attack or who knows what's lurking in the like this storm of shadows.
That's only a 3.
Ooh, okay. So the question was, are you hurting? And Oda says, no more, child. I was before, but now it's all gone. I thought that I needed to fight this, that I needed to help you learn to fight this. But you don't know how wrong I was. And I think out of the storms, her hair snakes around and lashes out to like enwrap and entrap Alhenna and like hold her in place. So I think that would be the consequence there is moving you to a desperate position. But you can resist that if you like.
Let's see, I'm guessing that would probably be sun.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a 5.
One stress. Okay, let's pause there for that moment. What's going on outside of the storm?
Is Marie is Marie at a safe distance?
Mhm.
Is she effectively out of the combat for now?
I think so because Bellatrix specifically moved Marie like behind a pillar out of the way. So I think that's where she is.
Okay. So after getting Marie's assurance that she's going to stay put and let us handle this, I think Bellatrix strides visibly out into the center of the room, and she starts like the scales flow down her arms and become like daggers, and she is flinging the daggers at the mirrors that the arms are coming out of and trying to shatter them.
Okay, yeah. That sounds great. I think we're just trying to what is it Bellatrix is trying to accomplish this with, like,
I mean, this is partly pulling Albrecht's attention to her because
Mhm.
Albrecht is the one controlling the mirrors.
Mhm.
It's partly to de-escalate the situation, and it is partly to damage the plan. Like, if the plan involves these mirrors being functional, then she's going to start breaking them. Like, it's mostly to try and pull Albrecht's attention to the Bellatrix. Because I don't think this is going to resolve the situation, but it's something that they're going to have to respond to.
Yeah. Okay. No, this is wonderful. This is totally great. Desperate.
All right, and so I feel like this is Defy. I am being unruly and breaking things.
Yeah.
Um, I am going to use a link with Adele to give myself the stress space to push myself.
Mhm.
So basically, I see Adele has been sort of pulled off the field, and my reaction is, well, all right, it's my turn. It's time for me to step up in the gap. So that is 2 dice and counting.
And I'm up for assisting unless David wants to possibly assist.
I probably would assist first.
Yeah.
And mechanically, that's not spending anything, that's just assisting, right?
You spend 1 stress to give me 1 die.
Perfect, I'll do that. Would this involve me basically joining you in this?
I mean, it could. If you've got mirrors near you, you might be able to smash them with your spear. You might be able to fend off some of the arms, or keep the arms tangled up so that the daggers find their mark. Or you could like pull focus from Albrecht. I mean,
probably I'm leaning toward the second one, where I essentially engage with the arms, leading you to deal with Albrecht.
okay.
Does that sound okay to you?
Sure, yeah. So that is 3 dice. That is a 4.
Okay.
Oh, that's gonna sting.
So on a great effect, it's 3 segments. I started a clock. It's a 6 clock. I just
Mhm.
have it kind of marked as Albrecht mirrors situation. So I'm mark 3 of those. The mirrors begin to shatter. Glass goes wild, and then they kind of like suspend in the air and begin to spin around. And then there is the energy drains, control is lost, and where the mirrors have broken, they begin to bleed together and open up into the space beyond.
Oh boy.
That's the consequence. So if you want to resist that in some way.
I mean, it's hilarious. I mean, I could spend my armor to try and resist it, but it's also kind of amazing. Um, I think if somebody wants, if anybody wants to veto this, I will be happy to resist it. But I kind of want to let it ride and see what happens.
Oh, feel free.
Yeah, no, honestly, it sounds kind of like it. I kind of like it narratively. It adds a little bit more tension to all of it too.
Yeah. I don't know if this drone repair space is going to survive this conflict.
Right.
It's not our drones. We're fine.
Pageant goes on standby holding position. All right.
Yeah. Okay. So that's kind of the situation as it currently is. What is Sarah doing? Sorry, Polaris.
Sarah Polar. So, I guess actually, so we had Brain Frida and kind of doing that and kind of breaking the mirrors, and Violet kind of just at least making sure the arms reaching out wasn't causing any problems. And we had that like situation with the things breaking. How did like Albrecht and Regalia and all, what happened as a reaction to that
Sure.
occurring?
Yeah. So
I think I'm staring down Albrecht. Like how a cat maintains eye contact with you while it pushes a glass off the counter. I'm doing that with Albrecht in his mirrors.
Nice.
Nice. So Albrecht, yeah. So Albrecht is clearly trying to split focus between Vega and Bellatrix, and there was like a bunch of like shadowy, like long shadowy arms with claws reaching out that Albrecht was like commanding, and then like a whole bunch of them just kind of like lose their substance as the mirrors shatter and break and begin to bleed together and distort this space. But there are others that he's like calling out of the mirrors that have yet to be destroyed. So he's lost. It's clear that he's lost a lot of control over the situation, but there's still enough that he's trying to maintain what he can. Regalia sees this break up, like the mirrors break, and she's I think looking around, and I think she sees Polaris, and she knows like this is Sarah, and I think it's almost like everything just goes perfectly still, and she just like casually walks through all of this nonsense that's happening, and like tosses her hair, and like there's like like glitter and whatnot, and then she like forms a dagger, and it's clear that she's like heading right for Marie.
Well, having seen what's kind of already occurring here with the two rivals here being like, this one's mine over here and this one's mine over there, and Violet seems to be kind of the point guard for for whoever is in the most dire situation. I think Polaris kind of gets the idea of like, okay, this one's already got their eye on me. I might as well begrudgingly follow suit on the. You know what? Sure, the rivals have already dictated how we're going to go about this. Let's do it this way. And so in that kind of just realizing of like, what is our quote unquote plan at this point, they decide to kind of take a deep breath, kind of collect themselves, and then kind of very much calmly kind of also approach Regalia. Once again, there is kind of very much apparent once again that just like in the last thing, she is not wanting to do harm to Regalia, but is ready to once again have this little emotional dance and all. But she's right now just kind of approaching and just changing her card to that of her other card, where she now kind of brings out her kind of spear, and kind of her outfit kind of takes a more change to kind of a Sarah-esque version of Vega's kind of outfit, and kind of just makes their way over, but not making the first move.
She sees you step up, and it's like a moment of like it looks like realization, like recognition of like the things that happened last time. And she like shudders, and she looks at the dagger, and she throws it down to the ground, and like splinters apart, and like her dress kind of dissolves into shadows that kind of just hang in the air around her. And she collapses to her knees, and she says, Sarah, I'm so sorry.
And oh my gosh, pardon me, as a player is like this, it feels kind of like a trap, but Sarah is too gosh dang kind on this, to just be so trusting. So Sarah just kind of seeing that and everything, and I'll kind of just kind of, so she's kind of so she's on the like on the ground, you said,
Yeah, go on her knees.
on her knees. Sarah kind of being kind of like taking this in, kind of just gets on one knee as one of her knee as well, kind of leveling herself and everything, and her just being like, and her just empathetically just being like the thing of like, I still don't understand why you're doing this. Like, we could do something. If we work together, we could find a better solution. I don't know what situation you're in, but I just don't understand why it has to be this way.
I think she says, I don't know a better solution. And she like looks at you, and her eyes are watery and large. And she says, can't you help me?
I want to do more than just help you. You are my family. The only family that I was actually given in this world, since I don't even know my parents that I was born to. So I want to help you with and everything. I just need to know what you need help with. I don't know. I don't know what they have. What everything has over you, or why you're put in such a position.
How close is Polaris to?
She would be fairly close, because she does not. She unfortunately has too much trust, so she is very much close and all of this.
So she holds out her arms to like try to bring Polaris in for a hug. And she says, it's so welcoming. It's like lies after lies. It's so inviting. They bring you in when you don't expect it. Oh, hold me, Sarah. And she's shaking.
I would say, just out of curiosity, can I do a quick gather info to see if this is kind of her true feelings of?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Empathize?
I would say that's probably empathize. Yeah, I feel like that's the most accurate one to that.
Limited effect.
Makes sense, since once again, Regalia, as much as she's been with Regalia, Regalia is still rather difficult to read. Not to mention, once again, Polaris is unfortunately a little too trusting for her own good.
I think it's risky position.
Risky? Okay. And I got 2 dice because of my transcendence, it looks like. I think I'll just risk it with 2. see what happens. Because yeah, and I don't think let me make sure. I don't think heartfelt applies here. When getting information about someone's emotions, oh, I guess I get that die too.
I will spend a link with Sarah. You've talked with Frida enough to get a sense for how the abyss works, and that's sort of that conversation is sort of playing on the back of your head. So go ahead and either take an extra die or 2 stress clear.
Okay, yeah, I'll take the 2 extra die. Give myself 4 just to see how this plays out. Oh man, what is that?
Okay, well, hey, on a 4.
Holy cow!
That is
Other information. So you get 1 question and 1 follow-up question. So you have
okay.
to choose. So, all right. So, the
first question was basically, I think it was very obvious. I think it was the,
what are you really feeling?
yeah, which I feel like I can probably reword things here with who here is feeling. Yeah, I'd say who here is feeling vulnerable. Actually, who here is vulnerable actually, because in this situation because that way I could actually find out if she at least does feel vulnerable here.
Okay. And then for the follow-up, the rules ask that it follows up on like the information that we reveal here. But that seems like that's probably what you would aim for anyway. All right, so is she feeling vulnerable? I think it's clear that by opening herself up to you in this close space, she is feeling vulnerable. But it's not just vulnerable that she's feeling.
Okay, and with that follow-up, I guess the bigger thing is because it's not just vulnerable she's feeling. I want to say, does it feel like she does it feel like this vulnerability at this current moment being presented to me does it feel in that sense of genuinely wanting help for that vulnerability, or is it being used more as a kind of a tool in a way?
She's baiting a trap for you.
What was that?
She's baiting a trap for you.
Yeah, I had a feeling.
Let's pause there. What is Vega doing right now?
Oh my goodness. So, Polaris, you're obviously occupied. I still think I'm going to go back to my usual line of questioning, which is trying to identify who's most dangerous or what's most dangerous and putting my attention onto that. So can I tell that, or do I need to do a gather information?
No, I'll set the stage for you right now. I think it's clear. Albrecht has lost quite a bit of control over the situation, so he's certainly no longer the most powerful. Regalia is in a very strong position at the moment, with Polaris being so close in striking distance. But probably the biggest, like as far as like sheer force and power is right now, is like the center of this storm that's happening off to the side right now. That is Oda.
Okay. Would it be too crazy, folks, if I went to try to face off against Oda?
I feel like, given the circumstance, and especially how much Adele has already used their transcendence, I feel like the one who desperately needs the assistance right now would be probably Adele. However, we also do have the rival aspect where Frida can just teleport at a given notice.
Yeah, I think
Well-
Frida plus Adele is probably the more appropriate narrative pairing here.
I'm also I don't. It's not clear whether I have engaged Albrecht, but it's the
I could,
smell test suggests that I have engaged Albrecht, which means that I'm stuck soloing Albrecht unless Adele helps me out.
And then there's the other thing we have to consider is because Violet is not entangled at the moment, and none of us are in a horrendous spot yet, in a way, is Violet could possibly seize the opportunity to kind of seal the deal with what Bellatrix has already done with the trying to stop whatever situation our enemies here have put forth. So there's a few different ideas there.
I'm inclined to either go with that or to try to protect Polaris.
And I would say, given your promise, and given the fact that Polaris is very much in being a dummy right now with the trust and everything, would not be out of the question right now with Vega and all with the protecting side of things. Because I can say it is not too hard to tell based on Polaris's kind of body language and everything that she is falling, unfortunately, hook, line, sinker for whatever Regalia is right now putting up here.
So I have a move that says when I protect an ally, I get bonuses to a resistance roll. Protect is a mechanical move here, right?
yeah, you instead of somebody else resisting a consequence, you resist it for them.
Okay.
Yeah, which I guess in a way you could also wait till Regalia actually does something to use that.
I think at the very least, what I'll do is I'll kind of throw it back into your court. I think I'm going to respect Polaris's autonomy, and as you're kind of about to move in to meet Regalia, I'm going to kind of appear in the background behind you. You're just going to hear my voice behind you call out, "Polaris, what are you doing?"
Oh my goodness. You know what? Yeah, I think that's a good way to for Polaris to be like kind of snap to, I think. And that thing of just like, I want to say like the kind of like quick like stumbling backwards for a moment, looking and like getting like that, going from their knee to like kind of like losing their footing, kind of standing up and kind of like like almost falling backwards on like on their heels for a moment before turning to Violet and everything. It's like, and just that kind of realization and kind of like, hey, just smacked with like kind of cold water. And it's like I forgot I forgot where we're at the moment. Thank you for catching that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what's Regalia do?
Yeah, Regalia lunges for Polaris and pulls out a dagger and tries to stab her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's fair. And
Oh, there it is.
I would say, is there really going to be a role for me on this one? Considering, I would say I'm still kind of I kind of like snap to like from that situation and like kind of move backwards, but then I also turn my attention to Violet. So I feel like my ability to react in this situation is probably not there.
Oh, sure. Yeah. No, I'm happy to put Polaris in a position of vulnerability. That's great. Yeah, let's make that roll real quick and then we'll take our last 5-minute break and then we'll kind of come back in and see where everything's at.
Okay, and would this be just like a fortune roll then?
Oh. So you're not
Or
you're trying to defend yourself or move out
or
of the pit
no.
last minute?
You mentioned doing a roll for it. In this situation, I'm not really able to dodge this in a sense because I'm not really even attentive to it.
Okay.
So I'm not sure how this works.
Sure. All right, yeah. So I'm just gonna I'm gonna give you the consequences, and you and Violet are right there and able to react or to try and resist and stuff. So this is what happens. Regalia reaches out, grabs Polaris, pulls her in, manifests a dagger as the shadows come back and coalesce and form her shadow dress again, and she stabs the shadow dagger into Polaris, and we see there's like light that pours out of the wound as she's like this abyssal dagger is less physical and more metaphysical, and it's like opening a wound to drain the starlight. And so that'll be like a level 3 wound. Ooh, like something like
Oh,
cast in shadow or something.
or kind of lost light or
Yeah,
something like that.
that's cool. Yeah, that would be a level 3. So, but there's two consequences I have there. One is that you're contained, you are entrapped by Regalia, and the other is the wound itself. So the two of you are free to resist however you would try to like, if that's something you want to do.
Yeah. So I guess given that theatrics that's just happened there, I'm gonna leave that up first to Vega here, since they're more in a position to react to what just occurred.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm going to always be erring on the side of protecting you. So, I mean, all things held equal, I'm inclined to just intervene to like keep you out of combat, unless you want me not to.
I'm up for it.
Um, Now you haven't actually suffered consequences formally here, have you?
Not
Those are the
yet.
two.
Those
Yeah.
are the two. Okay.
Yeah, so those are the ones that are up for resisting.
Yes.
Okay. Can I take a dagger for you?
I mean, that I could see that easily happening.
As part of a resistance bit, maybe?
Yeah, I could see that where you're using the your Indomitable, right? And you're kind of going and using like a protect action.
Yeah, well, and
against
also the
that.
ability Watchful.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about Watchful, yeah. So I mean, that makes sense to me.
So I guess mechanically you would protect her against the level 3 harm and then try to resist it yourself.
Does that sound right to everyone?
That works for me.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. So now the bigger question is how you do this, like with the since obviously the level 3 harm is coming from that dagger.
Right. I mean, I think there would be just kind of like a flash of motion, and I would appear between you and the dagger, and depending on how well it went, I would block it or not.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, so I think it sounds like we're first rolling a resistance to protect Polaris, and so that's going to be the one that's got this would be violence, I think. So this would be Sun, which you've got 3 in.
Mhm.
You've got Indomitable, and you are still Transcendent. So you got 5 dice to resist that, so that Polaris isn't entrapped by Regalia.
Okay.
And
Oh,
then
goodness.
the dagger will be coming at you. And then we'll
So cool. So I'll just roll the 5, and that causes me to take another Transcendence box, right?
No, this is just
No, actually.
Oh, it doesn't. Okay. Okay. So we'll roll those 5. Okay, got a 5.
so 1 stress.
Okay.
And now you have a level 3 harm coming to you about being, bled of your starlight, essentially.
Goodness gracious. Okay.
And so then you'll probably want to resist that.
I will resist that too. Yes.
And that would also be Sun, I think. So you have 3, and then you're still Transcendent. So you have 4 right now.
Okay.
I think that's it.
Also, because it was only one stress, doesn't your Indomitable just negate that since you only take? Oh no, at
No, it's
most.
just you
Never
suffer
mind.
at
It
most.
just caps it at 2. Okay. So I have 4, right?
Yep. So good.
Probably shouldn't push myself on this.
Yeah,
So
this
we'll
is just a
just
resistance roll.
keep
So
it so keep it at 4. Okay. Another
it's just
5.
one more stress.
Okay.
Not bad at all. 2 stress for negating all of that.
Right.
All right,
Not gonna complain.
No, that'll play.
let's take a quick 5-minute break.
Cool.
Clarice, did you mark a transcendence for the action roll to read Regalia?
No, I did not. I didn't realize that would be that would be an action there.
I think so.
Okay.
I think when we're in like a mission and there's stakes involved, I think it's still an action roll. It's just that it's also a gather information.
Yeah. And based on what Will mentioned, I think the setup counted as an action too.
Yeah,
Oh,
setup
yeah.
typically counts as action.
Okay, perfect. So
Oh. So
I'm at the 2 boxes perfect there.
oh, okay. All right, so you have one left? Okay.
Yeah, 1 left.
All right.
Oh, I gotta make it count. Working off of a little bit more limited resources than everybody else. just a little bit.
True.
Oh, El Henna, I do not like that.
Don't worry about it.
Do not like.
Did I can't remember. Did Elhenna Fumi, did you accept the consequence to be entrapped by Oda, or did you resist that?
Oh, resisted it and came out with 1 stress.
Okay, all right. Did you just cut the hair while it was trying to
I think
what does that look like?
I think it was basically just it's like because Alhena pretty much like let themselves just basically end up absconded with by Oda and everything, just more so with the intent of separating her away from it's like the others and everything essentially, and to occupy her. It's like Alhena has no real actual like expectation or um any confidence in actually like stopping Oda herself. So like themselves.
Okay. I think it's probably a great place to start back up, is back in the eye of this storm. And
So it's like, yeah, when it's like basically when they like resisted that action, it's like they probably more than anything just like barely it's like dodged away in time.
okay. I think Oda steps forward and says, I was training you to strike when the time was right, that you could move with a mask, so that you could be the weapon that would destroy the links of the abyss here. But now there's so much greater use, so much more potential you could reach by being welcomed into the shadow. Let me show you, Adele. I think she moves forward and materializing in her hand is like this dark prism, and she kind of moves forward to hold it out to Adele, as if she's moving forward to as if to like gently press this into like Adele's heart.
How far away is like she?
She's moving towards you. I think it's probably like this is a big space, and then this is the center of like a storm. So we'll say she's at like 10 to 15 feet away, like just very calmly, serenely moving towards Elhanan.
It's like for a moment, it's like Ahana just sort of like it's like stays put as it's like they see it's like Oda approaching. And it's like and true to their oddities and basically almost basically it's like they kind of start talking almost as though sort of like thinking out loud to themselves, almost borderline monologuing, if anything, where it's like they seem to think to themselves, it's like, hmm, it's like, it's like, and here I thought it's like more than anything, it's like I was probably it's like simply a disappointment to you. It's like all things considering. But it's like, well, think after it's like I think after losing you once and everything, it's like it made me kind of it's like realize I don't know when I it's like started fearing you. It's like I don't know when we it's like started it's like I don't know when we stopped trusting each other. It's like when we stopped really talking to each other at some point. It's like maybe it was because it's like maybe it's like it was just a natural it's like consequence of things when it's like I grew up and it's like the responsibility started piling up and it's like expectations became heavier and heavier. And I think back to all that, it really makes me realize, and then just sort of like I imagine at this point Oda just sort of like it's like by this point is like up close and they sort of like just sort of reach out and just sort of like it's like move their arms it's like and just sort of like knock the prism it's like aside and everything of like it's like It's like before they continue, it's like it's exactly why I can't it's like accept it's like the abyss it's like into my life or any of this really. It's like what do you think the it's like so do you really think it's like accepting the abyss like this it's like is really going to make everything better? Because it's like no matter how I think of it, it's like before it's like I was alone for most of my life. It's like having only you. It's like before I met it's like the friends that I do now. It's like it's like when I think I started discovering more meaning in my life that wasn't just burdens and obligations and responsibilities. And I think it made me realize it's like maybe I should have tried it's like reaching out to you the same way. It's like maybe it's like you wouldn't have needed that from me, but at the very least I could have offered. But I can't accept this.
I think there is a ripple effect that happens in the shadow, and like the shadow storm like dies down, and you can, for the first time in all of this, like you can see through it and see what's happening on the outside of it. And like the calm exterior of Oda begins to crack, and there's like almost as if being pushed away, like you know when a surface is covered in sand and you like blow on it and it like creates a little clearing opening, like there's that where the shadow is pushed away between Alhena and Oda. Like reaching out in this way has clearly broken through to Oda, but Oda is still very like entrapped by all of this. But this is an opportunity here to make some kind of mark to get through to her. So I think
Like, go ahead.
I was gonna say, so I think we have a role here to see how effective that is, how much Alhena can grasp hold of this moment and whatnot. So I think it's great effect. And the position here, it's not desperate because of breaking through to the person that Oda is, like right on the mark. So I think it's risky.
And I think it's like Alhena basically punctuates this as like sort of after it's like sort of like reaches out with her other hand, sort of like it's like and like sort of like clasps it's like sort of like takes Oda's hands, kind of clasps them between it's like theirs and everything, and just it's like it's like can we start over? Can we talk like we used to? It's like it's like being the only family we have between each other.
Yeah, let's make that roll.
See.
What do you think this is? Action.
I imagine it's empathize, or it might also be confess, but at the same time, it's like I guess it's kind of a combination of both. But I think it's kind of more empathizing and like trying to reach out to Oda.
I think so. That sounds really appropriate.
Yeah, or you can even be forgive because it sounds like you're trying to kind of get that forgiveness between each other.
And it's true, actually. Can I push myself for this role too?
Mhm.
Let's see. Emotionally stressful.
Yeah. So 2 stress for 1 die. So you're at
6.
3. Oh, you got a 6?
Yep.
Nice. Okay. What are Alhena's last words to Odell for now?
I think just it's like at this point, Alhenna's very like exhausted, both physically and emotionally, and everything. And so you kind of like, as the transcendence starts to like fade, it kind of like sort of it's like starts to it's like it kind of like it's like starts to sort of demanifest in like little it's like in like it's like sort of like little sparkles of light and everything as it like slowly dispels. It's like and Hana just it's like before it's like Alhana basically goes, let's let's it's like make the time it's like listen to it's like to each other and it's like to help each other like we used to, and just sort of like it's like before they kind of just it's like and then like as the transcendence just dispels, basically just sort of like it's like falls to it's like sort of like falls forward in exhaustion, is like onto their knees, it's like still sort of like clutching. It's like onto it's like Oda's hands.
I think there is like a last little mote of starlight that's still flickering there in the space that Elhenna was. And like Oda trembles, like trying to resist the shadow. And like as much as she possibly can, she gently sets Adele down. And then that last little mote of starlight like goes in and presses against her chest, and then the shadow collapses around it, and then the storm and Oda in like a rush of wind get pulled through the area that's beyond the mirrors that's bleeding into this realm, and suddenly she's just gone. The storm has broken. Regalia is standing there. Albrecht is standing there. What what is Bellatrix doing?
Bellatrix advances on Albrecht and says in a voice that echoes in this space, Father, do you think you're still in control here? Do you think you're still in control of all of this? Do you think it will serve you after today? When you have thrown the bodies of those you care upon to its jaws, will it have been worth it? I think she's trying to shake some sense into her dad.
Yeah, I think we need a roll here just so I can have some a sense of how all, because there's a lot of ways Albrecht could go right now.
Yeah.
So it depends on how successful Bellatrix is at doing that shaking.
So this is express. I am going to push myself for a die, which takes me to the eclipse threshold.
I think this is a risky standard because he's like he still has some control over this. There are still manifestations of shadow that he is controlling. So if he wants to, he could lash out, or there might be, some other emotional situation going on here.
Can I trade position for effect and make it desperate great?
Yeah, 100%.
Excellent.
What does that look like to make yourself vulnerable to be more powerful in this moment?
Oh. I think without coming out of transcendence, I think no, you know what? I think I'll take it back. I think it's still risky standard because I don't think I can narratively justify being more vulnerable in that moment. I think Bellatrix is secure in her power, and I don't think I can justifiably make that more desperate.
Okay, sure.
So Barring anything else, that is rolling 3 dice. And I think I should probably also make an eclipse roll after and during this to see how that colors the fallout as well.
Good call. Yeah, because it is the last one that you roll on. That's right.
Okay, so my express is a 4.
So you are successful.
Okay.
Shaking Albrecht.
With whatever a 4 is. And then with Eclipse, am I rolling a resist? What's an Eclipse roll again? Is it just a single die?
Let me pull that up real quick.
It's rolling your worst attribute.
Yes.
Okay, which is going to be Moon at 2.
Okay.
And I roll a 6.
Okay. Hold on to hope and stay in the struggle. So you shake him. He says, if I remember, the gist of it was, is he satisfied with like how much he sacrificed? Does he really think he's going to continue being in control? Right.
Yeah, and does he think that after today he's going to get any, basically, is he in control of the consequences, and is he happy with what he spent so far?
Yeah. He says, that's just it, Frida. I don't have to feel any of it anymore. All I have to do is do. Making our house stronger. It's what I fought for. What I continue to fight for. We're in a position of strength so long as all of this continues to play out. And like you can see, he's not really emoting, but he's processing like the words that Bellatrix said. Like he's like, wait, this isn't working. This is not like things are falling apart right now. He's like, no, even if I fail today, the drones that escaped are out there. The mirrors are out there. The abyss is still out there. Our house will be strong, Bellatrix. He's like, he doesn't sound super sure of his logic. Like he's having a moment, like a crisis here.
What is our house, Father? Is it a banner flying from an empty tower? A house is its people. Can you say that what you have done today, what you are still doing, is serving the people who look up to you?
I think he gestures to the monsters forming rank on the other side of the abyss, like waiting for the bleed to like finish so that they can walk through. It's like, these are our people, Frida.
I think that shakes Bellatrix. I think that makes her pull up short a little bit.
Do you want to pause there and see what?
Yeah.
Okay. Polaris and Vega, you're both there near the presence of Regalia, who, after being very very countered, she backs up in hesitation, and like her eyes dart from Polaris to Vega and then Polaris to Vega. Like she wants what is hers, but she is like humbled by the sacrifice and the audacity of Vega. So she just kind of continues to back away.
I have an idea that And it's kind of like again, kind of a thing of like setting up things with Vega, because like Polaris is very much aware, is kind of getting that sense that they're about to lose their magical powers, and does not feel like they can kind of end whatever is currently happening. So I'm thinking like the next action I'm about to kind of describe would be kind of in the aim of kind of setting up Vega to kind of complete whatever else we need to kind of do to kind of de-escalate everything at this point with this particular part of the conflict. Does that sound kind of good?
Yeah, totally. Yep.
Okay, so the kind of thing that happens here that for the setup is just at seeing, because once again, my unfortunately now very much realized impossible promise have finally happening here, where I could not stop Vega from taking any kind of harm, and in fact, I'm the reason Vega technically took harm, and along and everything. Sarah just kind of has her head down for a moment before kind of looking up at Regalia with tears in her eyes and a kind of very determined look in and everything, as she kind of just takes her spear and everything, and it's like, I trusted you. I put everything and all my loving care into everything that you in this family, and even when you didn't give really much of a glance towards me, and I'm okay with you hurting my feelings and hurting me, because family struggles. But what you've done, what you did, as she kind of like winds up and everything, her spear, it's like what you did to Marie and everything, and like as she's kind of, and then she kind of starts bringing the spear over, like down towards Regalia and everything, and to Vega, is unacceptable. They are innocents that are not that should not have been harmed in our family's drama, and then slams the spear kind of like right into Regalia, and then just the cracking of their magical form and their spear as it kind of just shatters in the kind of and the kind of light kind of disappears from that, and just her kind of falling to her knees in like this kind of emotional moment and no longer in her transcendence.
So you had said that this was a setup action for whatever Vega's going to do next. Okay, the way you described it sounds like express to me, but maybe there's something else here that you were aiming for that's more appropriate. Oh, you're muted.
I knew it. I know. I think you're absolutely right. I feel like this does feel very much on the express side. And one thing I did realize that I have not been using this entire time is you gain increased effect when fighting your most powerful foes.
Oh, okay.
So I did not realize that I had that there. So whatever the effect is, I guess it goes up one step.
Sure. Okay.
And the other thing that I was going to do is I was definitely going to push myself for this, and because of the I'm using kind of the how dare you, I'm striking back after what just happened to Violet. So you strike back against someone who has harmed one of your friends, gain a increased effect, and you recover 1 stress.
Oh, okay. So we have +1 effect from there, and you also have another +1 effect from something else?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
from
Okay.
Hero's Destiny.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
And so
this is going to be super duper uber effect.
I know, right?
It's really a question of the position. So let's just put you at a risky position.
That's fair. And
We're off
so
the charts as far as effect goes here.
so express, I have 0 dice in, but I push myself, so that puts me at 1 dice at the moment.
Huh?
I also spend a link to give you an additional die.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's good, unless anyone wants to use like the never alone assist thing beforehand.
Does the link expenditure look like anything specific, or is it just the memory of Adele and their bond together?
I imagine it's like, yeah, like it's like the memory. It's like of, well, probably not the part where it's like Adele was, it's like basically like, what do you mean you transcended? But it's like, probably it's like any one of their it's like few moments of just like, basically confiding in each other and everything.
I say, given the kind of the tone of it, I feel like definitely the memory of just their like more heart-to-heart talk while swinging definitely is at the forefront of all this.
Or yeah, especially with that talk about how like, oh, it's like when the time, it's like be patient with yourself and you'll realize when it's like the time comes and everything.
Also, so that's 3 dice.
Yep, sounds like 3 dice. All right. Don't fail me now. Hey, there's a 6. Woo!
It's just as you described, and Regalia is utterly stunned. I think when your transcended form like shatters it something about the resonance, like her shadowy visage, like her shadow armor, as it were, like it also shatters, and like she's there as like a vulnerable human, like caught in this emotional moment with Sarah. So I think Vega, whatever it is you're going to do, like this, like all of the super duper uber new effect is going to pass on to whatever it is you're going to do next.
That was so badass. I don't know if I want to do anything. I mean, I'm out here like I don't know what to follow up with. Because I don't want to mercilessly strike her down here. That's not very wholesome. So I mean, give her like a chance to back out, maybe. I kind of don't know what else to do here, frankly. That pretty much did it.
I mean, if you think about it, this is where of the group, Violet kind of shines in the sense of like, you are the only one who so far was able to kind of get through to the Baroness and everything at that last bit here. It almost could be like a similar kind of moment here, since you seem to be the one who has reached out successfully, like Sarah, the Baroness. Maybe this is something where you can just say something that like, that's what I'm kind of thinking here.
I mean, I guess I'll at least say, and this is me kind of setting my spear kind of to the ground, so I'm not pointing the blade at anyone. I'm just kind of setting it at the side. I will say, you have a choice here. Everything that has come to pass today, it's all fixable. We can work together to heal this. And we will work together to heal this, with or without you. But you have a chance now to be on the right side of this conflict.
Yeah,
It's up to you.
I think this is controlled great. And
Yeah, I'll take it.
yeah, it sounds like forgive, like we rolled before.
Yep.
She is humbled by what you had performed to save Polaris, Sarah. So you get an additional die for that.
So I have 2 in forgive. one for righteous. Yep, so that puts me to 3, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, so you and don't know if like I actually no wait, I already basically assisted with the setup, so yeah, I can't really assist any further than that, I think.
I'm okay with rolling 3, I think.
Okay.
If it goes poorly, it's just kind of a setup for season 3 anyway.
Right.
So here's 3. And there's a 6.
Not only did the shadow like shatter when Sarah spoke her words, but then what Vega had to say broke through any remaining resistance, and she collapses to her knees next to Sarah and pulls her in, and the tears just start streaming from her eyes. And she doesn't say anything. She just holds Sarah and cries. I'm gonna move back to Bellatrix, but I first want to just check on Adele. There is a wake, like just an emptiness around Adele after Oda has left. What is Adele doing?
Let's see. So I'm basically back in. I'm just gonna call it reality for now. It's like everybody else, right?
Mm-hmm.
I guess basically it's like it's like at this moment, sort of like catching themselves. It's like in everything. It's like sort of. I guess it's like since it seems like most of these events and everything were happening in parallel and everything. I guess like where in this point like it's like in relation to like everybody else's events and everything is like are we at basically like if that makes sense.
I think it's in the same time. I think whatever space Oda and Adele were in, I don't think it necessarily messed with time, but it was just so momentous for the two of them that it just was drawn out while all the fighting was going on.
It's like okay, so basically, I guess it's like probably it's like so probably I guess it's like sort of like returns to reality, like in the midst of it's like probably it's like now Sarah and it's like Regali, I guess, embracing, it sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
And then um it's like Mbega it's like having just it's like basically helped to redeem. It's like Regalia and then Bellatrix currently facing off with um it's like with Albrecht.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what it sounds like? The Father Lord. Um it's like yeah, I guess basically taking it's like that moment to sort of like recover a bit given everything that just happened and all. I guess can't really interrupt the emotional moment between it's like the trio over there. That would be very awkward and kind of rude. I guess it's like what does it it's like I guess it depends on what's going on between it's like Bellatrix and Albrecht at the moment. As like Adele basically finally like brings themselves it's like up to their feet.
I'd like to do a I'd like to get a read on my father
Mm-hmm.
because he's just said something that implies he may be too far gone to shake here. It sounds like he's basically submitted to the control of the abyss. Knowing him, do I think I still have a chance of talking him down here, of getting through to him, or do I need to be more aggressive? I don't know if this is a gather information check or or if I should just trust my gut and go with something.
I think we have three options I can think of. I can make a fortune roll just to see what kind of basic stuff that Bellatrix might notice. We can make an action roll for gather information to know specifically, or Bellatrix can go with her gut and make a choice.
Okay. The problem, of course, is, all right, we're going to do the gather information check, which is going to be my last transcended dot. Um, and I guess this would either be empathize or perceive, both of which would be 1 dot.
Okay. That's interesting. I would like to know the choice here because to me that feels meaningful. Is Bellatrix trying to read her father and their relationship and the emotions, or is it like a calculated attempt to understand the mechanics of his psyche?
I feel like it has to be connecting to emotions. She knows her father. She thinks she knows her father. She's trying to get a sense of what would appeal, whether he will react to an appeal or whether he is too closed off or something like that.
Okay. So yeah, empathize sounds great.
Okay. So that is a 1 die empathize.
I'll put this at risky standard.
Okay. All right. I'm going to roll it and see what happens. It is a 3.
Okay, so let's do your question first. So you do get 1.
Okay. What are my father's secret pains?
Yeah. All right. Something about his posture, the way he's looking at you, the way his mind is ticking and you can see it. And like there's this sadness that that his children have not yet joined him, that they aren't taking part in what he's fought for, that he still hasn't won and has to continue fighting to bring his family what he wants them to have.
Okay. And while I'm trying to puzzle through how I respond to that, what's going on with Adele? Where is my rival? What are they doing?
Um, it's like how far am I exactly away from those two, given that I was pulled into an entirely separate storm and everything?
You're still down here in this primary space.
Okay, so
I think you're all reachable to each other.
let's see. I guess well, they're kind of observing what's going on. It's like between it's like basically it's like Bellatrix and it's like her father, given well, it's just one family reunion after another, isn't it? Um it's like do you imagine basically it's like Adele's probably at least like been it's like Adele and it's like the rest have probably like it's like Frida generally doesn't seem to be like too withheld about like basically having expressed like it's like her grievances with her father and everything in it's like the past, I imagine, after it's like she joined the team. So it's like I imagine it's basically just like, oh, it's like keep an eye to see if possibly they can help somewhere, but at the same time not wanting to intrude. It's like unnecessarily, if that makes sense. I'm not even sure if like eavesdropping is being it's like rude in the situation.
All right. So I think Bellatrix spreads her arms wide and she lets the scales fall, the mirrored scales fall off of her in a clatter, and she is Frida again, vulnerable before her father. And she says, "There is no place for me on the other side of that mirror. There is no place for Ian." And I name check a couple other members of the family, like, you know, his right-hand person or what have you. The creatures on the other side of the mirror will devour your house and leave nothing but bones. There is no home for us there. We're right here. Come back to us. And I feel like that's my last. I feel like if there is something supernatural that has to happen, if this doesn't work, I'm banking on Vega and Adele to save my ass here.
Yeah. So I think, all right, let's see here. Because I have a consequence from the last roll still. So I want to move that, I think, into a worse position. Like, I feel like Bellatrix is probably being super duper vulnerable here. Like, she's definitely like defied her father this whole time, but like if she's going to be open to him, like now is it
Mm-hmm.
In an emotional sense.
And basically to make this argument, she has to drop the shadow she's holding. You know,
Yeah.
the tools of the tools of the Shadow House will not serve to dismantle it.
So I think it's desperate position.
Mm.
Effect is like, jeez. All right, so I think because this is like has been a very calculated thing for him, it would have started at limited, but because Bellatrix saw through and is understanding where Albrecht's coming from and his feelings of loss not being part of his family in this emotionless void, because that's his thing. I think we move up to standard effect.
Okay. So desperate standard. I feel like this is. I don't know if this is empathize, express, or confess.
This feels like express to me.
Okay.
Feels like there's an intent here.
Yeah, I guess empathize was the previous roll.
Yeah.
So 2 dice. What's the poison? I'm hesitant to risk Eclipse on this because it doesn't feel narratively correct. If things go wrong, maybe Eclipse rolls are justified. So I will ask what the poison promise is. What a poison promise might be here.
I believe the text says don't do this, but like my immediate instinct is to say that you might be able to break through to Albrecht here, but it's just a crack in the armor. Like there's still more to be done. So if somebody else wants to offer something, by all means, please.
I mean, that suggests that even if I break through to him, this is not a season. Redeeming him is not a season 2 thing. Like even if I cause him to falter here, he's still on the Abyss team.
That is the question. Yes,
Okay.
I think so. So if that's something you want to lean into, which I'm totally down for, let's come up with a different poison promise.
Okay.
And also just because links aren't going to survive anyway, you have a lot of different links here to like one clear stresses out and all sorts of different things.
Yeah, I mean, if we don't like the poison promise idea, I can spend a link with Violet and a link with Adele, and then push myself for a die.
Oh, here's here's an alternative. Let me know what
Mhm.
you think about this. It's possible to redeem him here, by all means. But the Abyss isn't done with him. Your family's going to be hunted.
Yeah, I think he's made too many. I think he's given too much of himself to the Abyss that such that this can end the family's connection with it.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
That feels nice.
All right, so that is 3 dice. Four.
Okay.
And that was a desperate action.
It was. I think this looks like level 3 emotional fallout. Like this was Bellatrix, Frida, like, taking down her father's walls, taking down her walls, and it's just like everything's crumbled here, is what it feels like to me. Would you like to resist that? Would somebody else like to resist that as well?
It's like, would it be possible to try to protect against that?
Do you rush over and hold Frida so that she knows she's supported and not alone? Like, would that be enough for Frida?
I mean, I think there's a certain I think Frida is sort of poised on the edge of terror here, right? She's making herself vulnerable in a state where she honestly doesn't know if her father is reachable. And she's feeling very alone.
Okay, it's like, yeah, if that be, it's like if that's pretty evident on it's like Frida's purse and everything, then it's like, yeah, Adele would basically it's like rush over. It's like basically to try to it's like sort of like it's like probably it's like basically sort of like grabs him by the shoulders as though it's like trying to stabilize him. It's like or something. Basically just like it's like and it doesn't really have any it's like words to say, doesn't know if there's any really it's like good choice of words to help with here and everything, but basically just sort of like is like for the moment just sort of like it's like holds her. It's like watching it's like if it's like seeing it's like if it's like she's it's like basically close to a breakdown, but sort of like I guess sort of just yeah, essentially it's like at the it's like at that moment essentially just sort of like physically confirming that they are here. It's like with them.
I think Frida stiffens when she feels your hands on her shoulders. And then when she realizes what's going on, she just sort of leans her shoulders back into your hands and stares at her father.
That sounds like Moon to me, I think.
Okay.
So Adele, if you would like to roll Moon.
Actually, do you have to be in Transcendence to it's like spend your special armor?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So you don't get special armor unless you have a move that gives it to you.
I have here for you where you may expend your special armor to resist consequences suffered when you protect an ally.
Oh, nope. Nope.
Yeah.
Use that here. Yeah.
Yeah, I think basically, especially since the name of the ability is actually rather apt. It's
Yeah.
like for this situation where it's just like it's like where it's like essentially just sort of it's like sort of wholesome and just sort of like it's like it's like and basically just goes it's like it'll be okay. It's like even if you don't get through to him,
So that I
I'll
think
figure it out.
level 1 harm like shaken sounds what's going on here is what it's doing
I
for
could say that.
Frida.
Okay, so it's applying to me.
Mhm.
All right.
Yeah. So it was level 3, and now it got reduced down to level 1.
Okay.
I think seeing this, Albrecht does this, and like a bunch of mirrors shatter and then collapse on the bleeding space, like where the abyss is bleeding in, and it closes it up, and then like it all crumples up into like this just mash, this sphere of broken glass shards, and like clunks on the ground, and then he looks back to Frida, and he sees Adele like holding and supporting Frida, and there's like a smile in his eyes, and he gives like a quirky grin, and he says, "You'll have to show me how it works, trying to control it from the other side."
I think Frida nods, and I think she steps forward out of Adele's hands and closes the distance slowly between herself and her father, and she reaches up with her hands and clasps his arms with her hands and says, "We can do it together." And then pulls him in for a hug.
We are at time. Does anybody need to leave? Because if so, I want to make sure you've got time first. Like for any epilogue thing that you might want to contribute.
I'm good.
Okay. I feel like that's a great end to that scene. There's a lot of open-ended questions, but like they did the thing. That felt like a really good high point. Is there anything anybody else would like to contribute?
What's going to happen to that star-looking environment after this?
The place where you're in?
Yeah.
Oh, I imagine that like Albrecht helps explain and dismantle, maybe even Regalia too. I don't think Regalia stops crying for like a long time. Um, and so I imagine the drones are going to be out of commission for a while, which who knows what that's going to mean for the pageant. Okay, so why don't we jump into Series XP? Closing out the season. Did you successfully carry out a mission from the series list? Yes. Did you confront the world's oppression and comfort those who suffer?
I don't know about that.
Mark 2 for that one. Did you explore the nature of the darkness and redeem those who fallen? We got at least 2 for 2 redemptions there. Come on. And, I don't know. Did you explore the nature of the darkness?
I don't know. It's hard to say on that one.
I think it might have come up.
Just a little.
And did you express the essential nature, origin, or destiny of the group?
I feel absolutely there. This has probably been the most we've ever expressed it.
I think there is at least one scene in the denouement of Ian holding hands with Frida, holding hands with her father, and they're standing on the parapet of House Alnatak, and they're looking up at the sky, and there's another star.
Yeah, that's good. I like that a lot.
Only because I think it'd be a kind of a fun little thing, and for like the epilogue, and kind of want to get David's opinion on this, but like I like the thing of like, because of the kind of the found family aspect that has kind of come up with with Violet and everything, for Sarah and all, is the thing of like having like a moment where she introduces like Marie and such to like Violet and Rose, and kind of like like have like a nice like I don't know, like picnic under the stars or something, like just a nice little thing of finally kind of having a moment where like almost like a little thing of like a little family moment in a way of like just enjoying some actual peace after everything.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Does anybody else have would like to do any epilogue stuff?
I'm good on my end.
Yeah, I think I'm good for Isolate the Moment.
Okay. Is there an ability that jumps out that our Magical Girl group would like for their series abilities?
We could probably go with, it's like, I kind of like the thought of Pure Hearts, but it's like I'm also reminded of how much it's like Claire misses her +1 die for Make a Connection.
I miss it.
That seems thematically appropriate.
Yeah, I feel like that it thematically just fits really well with all the heart to hearts that happened in this like big moment.
Does that seem appropriate for you, David?
Yeah, sounds good.
Cool. Okay. Playbook XP.
I can go first.
Mm-hmm.
Address a challenge with compassion and honesty. There was a lot of compassion and honesty with Regalia, and yeah, I think that like there was just quite a bit of that throughout there. You expressed your beliefs, drives, role, and background. I expressed that quite heavily with Regalia and everything. And that kind of and the drive that I kind of got for kind of that working together, and kind of that found family moment with by doing a lot of those like shared attacks and setups with Violet. You struggled with issues from your your promises or obligations. Yeah, I just watched my the one I'm trying to prevent from getting any harm get harm finally, and that was yeah. That's a bit of a thing. And then Marie, that was, and there was a lot of obligations there, and display the contents of my heart. Yep, that I had my heart fully out there.
I like how you say, "Oh, I failed to protect Violet from harm," and it's like all they really got, so like was like too stressed.
Hey, they got poked. That's not allowed. Even just a little prick of a pin, too much.
She took a knife for her. What are you saying?
I know, right?
Big is a total badass. That's why. Like, nope.
I can go next unless someone else wants to.
Yeah, sure.
Let's see. Adjust a challenge with understanding or coordination. It's like, yeah, it's like, especially, I feel like all these prompts actually were kind of like, it's like checked off, especially with like that confrontation with Oda. It's like expressed your beliefs, drives, and it's like roller background. Yeah. It's like struggled with issues from your promises or obligation is probably more of a, it's like one. It's like, since, yeah, I'll err on one for now. And then embodied your eclipse or display the contents of your heart. Yeah.
All right, I think I can probably go. You addressed the challenge with individual action or aggression. It didn't happen very often in this scene, but it did happen. So I'll take one for advancing on my father, and smashing the mirrors. You expressed your beliefs, drives, role, or background. I think I was in full house all attack mode here, so I'm going to count it as 2. You struggled with issues from your promises or obligation. I don't really think I did. I don't think I abandoned or was concerned about abandoning Vega, and I don't feel like I was concerned about keeping Alhana tethered.
I think it was
Um,
probably more the other way around at that time.
yeah, so I think and this was not we didn't have any kind of obligation phase. Like this was all in the action here. So I'm going to take 0 for that. You embodied your eclipse or displayed the contents of your heart. I'm going to take 2 for that. Um, for that final scene with my father. So that is 5 total.
On my end, you addressed a challenge with kindness or self-sacrifice. I won, I think, for the way I interacted with Regalia. Expressed, but your beliefs, drives, role, or background. Definitely expressed, I think, um, some combination of role and beliefs, I think, just with how protective I was of everyone. In particular Polaris, so I'm inclined to take 1 there.
Well, and also your comments to Polaris and like honestly, you did a lot throughout the entire thing with Polaris from start to finish.
I mean, I can take 2 for it, I suppose. You struggled with issues from your promises or obligation. I mean, I did do a lot to, again, protect Polaris. I don't know that I was struggling with it in an inner conflict kind of way, though. So I'm okay with passing that one over. And then you embodied your eclipse or displayed the contents of your heart. I'm inclined to say display the contents of your heart at least once, again, with my interaction with Regalia, and maybe to a certain degree with the epilogue scene with me and Polaris at the very end. So that puts me up to 8, and I'm okay with calling it there.
Um, just to cover it, did Vega or Violet lie, admit fault, or ask for help?
Good point. No, I didn't.
I don't think anybody did.
Did anyone ask for help? That one is just tricky.
Mm-hmm.
No, but I don't think we asked for help.
You just helped.
We just did.
Mark Series XP for that one.
Woo!
Cool. Awesome. Okay. Stars and wishes. I'm just gonna say a few things that I thought was cool. But there was so much that was cool, like it would just replay the whole session. When when Bellatrix went up to Marie and was like, "I'll carry this for you." That was perfect. That was really great. And then turned it into armor was the perfect switcheroo. I loved it when Vega went up to Polaris and was like, "Remember that training we did? Let's go. Let's do this thing." That was like back to back. I could just see this action sequence play out. It was wonderful. Um, I really liked how Clarice, that you were willing to have Sarah Polaris play into Regalia's trap. That felt very on brand. That felt really, really nice to go for that. And then I also really like how Adele Alhena was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go for it. Like I'm out here. I'm just dive through this mirror, go through the enemy legions, and it's gonna be fine. And I'm just gonna distract everybody. This would be great. Going head on in. Wishes. We can talk about this here in a bit too. It sounded like some people, at least some of us, were interested in a potential season 3. So that's something that interests me as well.
I'll go next. So stars, absolutely loved the with in the kind of opportune moments too with between Vega and Polaris with the setup and then the beautiful follow-ups from Vega. I loved especially the fun cut-ins and description of how the shadow monsters were dealt with was really, I was all for that. That made me so happy, and just the culmination of like the talks between our characters. Absolutely loved and was not surprised at all with Adele being like, yeah, I'm going to just go over here and deal with Oda by myself, in a torrential storm effect there. I felt like that was just beautiful, and the really good heart-to-heart that happened there, which was really pulling at my strings, just like how Viga's moment with Rose was. Really love those moments, and I loved how much Bellatrix just kind of expressed so much more of like the meaning of things to their father, and that seeing that other side to Bellatrix that we don't necessarily get to see all too often, especially considering father is not necessarily as much in the picture as unless it's of course in a very drastic situation like this. And loved just the little nice epilogue there with Ian and Bellatrix and everything like that. I love that. It just a nice little flavor to it. Wishes. I also just really loved everything about this, and personally I would love for a chance down the line for season 3 personally, because I just absolutely just enjoyed everything that came from this. This was a lot of fun, and I loved everybody's characters so much.
I can throw my 2 cents in. I mean, just kind of same as what's already been said. I have really enjoyed, I think, especially the bonding between my character and Clarice's character over the course of the series. I mean, it's been a real nice character arc between them. I was really, really pleased to see how that kind of ended, at least for the season, this go around. Also, good God, Will, that monologue at the end, that was something else. I was such a big fan of your conversation towards the very end, where the image of what did you say? What is this house? Is it a banner on an empty tower? It's the people. I love that so much. So that was awesome. Fumi, likewise, the conversations you had at the end, and really just what everyone did is they kind of paired off to their respective NPCs and had the big showdowns with them, I thought was just super cool. And Danny, most of all, thanks to you so much for running this series. I'm a convert, never played it before, love it now. So job well done, great game. And yeah, I am also down for more sessions of this, at some point in the future.
I have to say I'm still feeling the bleed a bit from that last scene, so I'm a little out of it, but that was a fantastic capstone to the season so far. I feel like a lot of what I would say has been covered, but I would say that Fumi, I loved your frank olive branch to Oda in talking, taking a threat from Oda and the prism and everything, and just sort of trying to acknowledge the mistakes that have been made and talk her down into a moment of connection. Clarice, I love your card imagery. I love the way that you embody the shifting cards into your transcendent actions. And similarly, I was really happy seeing Violet and Polaris working together. And I like David, I like you sort of moving in when you saw that Polaris was going to actively eat a knife, the way that you just sort of positioned yourself fictionally to be ready to defend against that. I thought was a great touch. Danny, it's been great. I would be up for more Girl by Moonlight with this group, either continuing the story of these characters or spinning out another premise. Either way, it's been an absolute blast.
Yeah, for it's like stars. Well, it's like pretty much everyone's is like mentioned like all the it's like really good like individual moments and everything in this session. So I think like I'll go a little bit more broad in saying like it's just been it's like really great with this group and everything. Like this is like and like the system's definitely been fun and everything, but I feel like basically what really is like what really made it all so great and everything was just, it's like Danny being the director and it's like basically like it's like taking all the threads and it's like linking them together and everything and everyone just having fun with their characters. It's like and the buy-in, the it's like connections and it's like scenes between it's like everyone it's like both with like it's like between protagonists and between it's like their it's like secondary characters and things like that and everything. And it's like yeah, it's been wonderful. It's like I can honestly it's like and then it's like I could honestly gush on about it with like I guess with like wishes we do it's like season 3 and everything is like I see it's like I still see like a lot of fun things that I'd like to it's like see like do Gabriel and Violet ever get back together and like what's it like now for it's like Frida and her family being hunted it's like actively hunted down by the abyss and what that looks like and everything. It's like what's it going to look like now with like it's like it's like Sarah and it's like Marie now does it's like does this mean Marie also now has magical girl potential and everything and how things go it's like now that it's like after that emotional catharsis between it's like her and Regalia and like pretty much I can it's like go on about like all sorts of it's like things that would be it's like fun to it's like continue exploring and everything. Does the cyberpunk water balloon ever come back? Yeah. It's like, yeah, it's just been, it's like absolutely delightful and everything.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you all so much for playing. This was really great. Um, for a potential season 3 or alternative take on Girl by Moonlight, I would be looking at like mid-August or September to pick it up. I don't know if that for sure doesn't work for anybody. Otherwise, I could reach out as we get closer and see how that works. Okay, cool. Well, I think that wraps up the last session. I've got some time if anybody wants to hang out and chat for a little bit, talk about the system, maybe their experiences with it or anything else. I'm happy to hang around, but otherwise, yeah, thanks so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Cool.
Thank you.
Take good care. I'm gonna hop off, but lovely meeting you all. Yeah, I've never played with everyone here before, but I have genuinely loved meeting all of you. I don't know if you all are new to Open Hearth or if I just haven't seen you, but no, it's been super good. Maybe I just kind of play the same types of games all the time, but I find that whenever I play on the Open Hearth, I'm always playing with like the same group of 10 or 12 regulars. And they're all lovely people. I will also say though, so cool to meet some new ones out here. So thank you all for playing with me. It's been lovely meeting you all.
Yeah, it's been lovely, especially because like for I could say for me and for Fumi, Fumi actually was the one who found Open Hearth and like even let me know of this and was like, oh hey, there's this fun Girl on Moonlight one that just kind of showed up. Maybe this is our chance to try things out. And uh, absolutely, I'm so happy that to have actually gone to actually just be a part of all this and like actually see what Open Hearth is like. It's got me so I love the community just from like from what I've seen so far and experienced. I didn't know such a fun community was out there until now.
It was nice to meet you too, David.
Absolutely. I'm gonna hop off, but take good care, everyone, and I'll see everyone around.
Yeah, have a good night.
Think
And,
I'm probably going to bail as well.
yeah.
It was great playing with all of you, and I'm looking forward to future opportunities in this
Yes.
game and others.
Absolutely.
This has been an absolute blast on Fridays.
I love it.
Take care.
Hey Danny.
Mhm.
Just because I was actually looking to try and do facilitating of this particular system and everything. Especially because like I have fallen in love with the system. It's kind of fun. And I wanted to kind of do things with Open Hearth and all on that. I've already talked with Lowell about it. I guess my main thought and question, like from your experience with it and all, is when it comes to how the like, how should I put it?